1894. That was the last time and the first time North Dakota State got things going on the gridiron. 2003 was the last time they played. Both were Division II, now they're Division I. And boy, has it been a long wait. Thanks to all of you for joining us of this broadcast of NDSU Bison football here on KVLY and the NBC North Dakota Sports Network. Brian Shawn, Lee Timmerman, Beth Houle is on the sidelines, and North Dakota State is on the field as they get set to take on their rival from just about 75 miles north.
Well, obviously the game will be played by the players, but this game means so much to the players before the teams that came here today. I mean, the alumni are just been waiting for this. The fans have been waiting for this, and quite frankly, we've been waiting for this. Brian, it might not seem like it was that long ago that you were in college, but you were in college the last time that these two teams played. So yeah, it's fun. It's about time too, I think.
You know, I got up here today, LT, and I look at you and I look at the field and I see the teams warming up, and I think to myself, do we really get to do this today? Do we really get to do this today? Wherever you're watching, whether it's in North Dakota, whether it's in the Midwest, whether it's in the United States, whether it's worldwide, on ESPN3 or GoBison.com. Thank you for joining us for this matchup. We know it's special for many of you, and I'm excited to see what happens as North Dakota State takes on North Dakota today. We're getting set for the national anthem by the Gold Star Marching Band from North Dakota State.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home
We weren't sure if it was going to feel any different as Division I opponents. LT, it feels different.
It kind of does, and I think the gap and the space have just made this one. Again, I go back to the fans and the former players. I mean, this game has been something that teams have wanted and the players have wanted, the former players, I should say, for more than a decade. That's a long time to wait when you consider that these two teams have played 110 times to have a gap that large.
Bubba Schweigert in his second year, LT, is trying to turn things around in North Dakota, and it really starts on the defensive side. They've been much more disciplined on that side of the football. Still growing a little bit on the offensive side, but hey, UND's off to a 2-0 start with an FBS win.
They are 2-0, and I think you're right. I think the defense, if you had to pick, which one's doing better, offense or defense, there's Coach Schweigert and Coach Kleiman. For UND, it's definitely the defense. I think the defense is quite a ways ahead of where the offense is right now, and I think a guy to look for throughout the way the game is going to go, as I think number 99 for NDSU. It's whatever UND's offensive line can do with Nate Tangway might go a long way to what UND can do moving the ball.
North Dakota had a lot of success moving the football on the ground against Wyoming, but they've really struggled last week at Drake, getting John Santiago and some of those other stable of running backs going. Beth Houle on the sidelines has a PetroServe USA sideline report. Beth.
In that UND versus Drake game last week. That's what defensive coordinator Matt Entz is telling me. He called it an FBS hangover. I'll also tell you NDSU defense is keeping an eye on Studsrud this game. Coach N's telling me that
Here's
he's
gonna
a
be the coin this
dynamic
afternoon.
player who can manage that
Bison
football
head
team,
is the head.
especially with an offensive line who's
This is
so
the tail.
capable of shifting and changing
Head.
things up. They're going to
Tail.
have to force UND
Dakota
into
is-
running the football in this game. That's what Coach N said will be the main priority of this Bison defense today. That movement is a characteristic that goes across the board for UND football. Their defensive line also capable of being quick and shifting things up. Now, NDSU, of course, is going to have to bring that dynamic run and pass game that they can threaten, that no one else UND has played will have the opportunity to see. NDSU really dynamic in that ability, and there we have to bring it to UND today with that dynamic play. Guys?
Thank you, Beth. North Dakota won the toss. They will defer. North Dakota State will have the football first. And Eric Schmidt, a former outside linebacker in the Bubba Schweigert 3-4, now the defensive coordinator at UND, and he knows he has his hands full with a very talented Bison offense, where number 11 right now is playing at a very high level for NDSU.
Well, he, quite frankly, is the thing that UND worries about. Wentz, Coach Schmidt said, is the best quarterback, or right there with the best quarterbacks that we've ever faced. That's going back to their days at Southern Illinois. And we're talking about, a kid, too, who's in the NFL, Jimmy Garoppolo. He says Wentz is right there. They make him nervous. One of the best stories, I think Eric Schmidt said, he goes, when they were at Southern, they told their players, Brock Jensen, hit him hard, but help him up, because we do not want Wentz in the game.
That's about as good as it gets for a story. Chase Morlock, Bruce Anderson, Dimitri Williams also in on kickoff return. Williams, a true freshman from Rosemont, Minnesota, got a couple of attempts last week in the game against Weber State. And we're getting ready to kick off the first ever Division I meeting between North Dakota and North Dakota State in front of a sold-out crowd of almost 19,000 people in the Fargo Dome this afternoon.
An absolute playoff feel to this building, isn't it?
Oh, I tell you, it is an awesome feeling today. Reed Taubenheim will boot it away for North Dakota. This is a Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. Williams back along with Lance Dunn and Chase Morlock for North Dakota State. Taubenheim. We are underway as the rivalry is back in North Dakota. Taken by Dimitri Williams at the 4. Williams inside. Williams cuts back inside to the 40-yard line. He's still on his feet to the 47. And great starting field position as a flag is thrown at the very end.
Be interesting to see what the flag is, Brian, but I saw NDSU double team Dio Aduwu, and they were on him hard. But as we look back at Williams, there's a reason that the true freshman, doesn't have a red shirt. He is electric. He can break big plays. He runs jet sweeps, those types of things on the offense. But I think this flag is coming against the Bison.
Return, holding, return team number 80, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So that will negate the lengthy return of close to 41 yards for Dimitri Williams, and the Bison will start back deep now in their own territory.
I tell you, NDSU made a specific point to not let number 31 in white have any part of that coverage. And I can't remember didn't catch the numbers of the two guys who were doubling, but I think that's where the hold came from.
Dio Aduwu will start as an outside linebacker on this UND 3-4 defense. He is one of the team captains. The Bison had over 400 yards of total offense in the first half alone against Weber State last week, and they did it both on the ground and through the air. 3 receivers to the bottom side of your screen here on 1st and 10 from the 16. Quick drop, quick throw in the flat, caught. Nice gain on first down, as I believe the catch was made by Darius Shepard. Another redshirt freshman from Blue Springs, Missouri. Had a couple of nice long receptions last week against Weber State in the first half. That picks up close to 7.
Well, the Bison trying to get a big body out in front, too. Morlock was out there trying to pick up a block and, pretty good yardage, actually very good yardage on first down. He'll take 7 yards on first down any time during a game.
The corners playing well off of the NDSU receivers here. Now Adowu goes out in coverage. They'll go the same play to the other side. Wentz swings it out that time. Shepard got a couple, but nice job defensively by the UND defense coming in to make a play. That was Cole Reyes that made the tackle.
They really like Reyes. Reyes is a kid who has just played so well, and Adowu pops out there and takes away the lead block. You see him blow that up, and then he, 31, Adowu was the reason that that play didn't get to be the first down. You'll see Coach Schmidt do a lot of things right before the snap in terms of moving players around, try to confuse Wentz.
They go to power. King Frazier gets the call, picks up 3 yards, and up for an NDSU first down up to the 28-yard line. North Dakota coming into the game 6th in the country in third down defense, giving up just about 20%. But again, they have not seen an offense that has the capability that North Dakota State has.
Well, you mentioned the term power. It's a base running play that NDSU uses, and whenever you play NDSU, you know that it's coming.
NDSU offense, starting lineup brought to you by Shields. Wentz behind center, off to a great start. Zach Zemer makes his second straight start at left guard for the injured Zach Johnson. Chase Morlock at running back had a huge game both through the air and on the ground last week against Weber. Play action, Wentz under pressure, and he is dropped from behind. It is Adowu who makes the stop, and a big loss of 10 to the 17-yard line. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay.
Getting past Joe Haig on off to your left. There's pressure in Wentz's face, and then Adowu comes, really took because he's so fast, he took a very wide angle back into the quarterback. Because Wentz couldn't step up, Adowu was able to get to him. That's what UND has to do today, put some pressure on Wentz.
So 2nd and 22 at the 17. Lance Dunn now motions into the backfield, and Wentz will run. He is tripped up at the line of scrimmage. And nice job again by the interior lineman from North Dakota as we take a look at the Shields starting lineup with that UND defense. Their linebackers led by Will Rattel, very good. Taj Rich also having a nice season so far. Rattel, the single season leader in tackles after last year, having 106 in this game. The 3-down linemen, they play hard. They may not be the most talented guys, but they are doing everything they can to take up the attention of the offensive line. The 2 safeties, very good, Arnell and Cole Reyes.
The 2 deep for UND's defense, you'll see them all. All 22 guys and more will play today.
Wentz making an adjustment at the line of scrimmage here. Play clock down to 2. Wentz will go to the air. Drops it off on the screen to Bonnet. Incomplete. A very good first series there for North Dakota's defense.
Well, Tank Harris, among others, UND decided that time, Brian, just to, instead of bring the house, they dropped the house. They only brought the 3 guys, and then that allowed the defense to be able to set back, see that the screen was coming. Harris also saw the screen was coming, got in there before the connection could even be made to Bonnet.
So the top punter in the FCS now on for North Dakota State, Ben LeCompte, averaging over 49 yards a punt so far this season. Nice high, deep punt here. Drives back the UND return man to the 24. He's got some room to the outside. That is Josh Seibel from Bismarck. Inside NDSU territory, finally ridden out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Special teams making a big play early there for North Dakota.
Well, what was on the top of UND's to-do list? Hey, try to take the crowd out as early as possible. Your defense makes a stop. Seibel gets some really good blocks coming downfield and is able to get to his near sideline, and you take over for the first time as a Division I school in this building from the Bison 22-yard line. You can't make a better strip if you're UND than that.
So Keaton Studsrud brings out the UND offense. They have a short field to work with here on their first drive. I formation, 2 receivers in the formation. It is loud in here. Santiago gets the call, and he's got a little bit of room as he works off the block on his right side and gets 3 yards up to the 19-yard line. Time for our starting lineups. Brought to you by Shields. And we'll start off with that UND offense. We mentioned Studsrud, Santiago, 148 yards on the ground at Wyoming a couple of weeks ago. The offensive line getting better. They really like their left tackle, A.J. Stockwell, 6'7", 315, just a sophomore. Studrud, quick drop. Here comes pressure. He'll fire to the end zone for Sarantino. Incomplete. Trey Dempsey on the coverage for North Dakota State.
Well, UND had a triple stack, kind of a diamond off to the left side with no really help over the top. So Dempsey really had to make that play, and he was in perfect position.
Here is the Shield starting lineup for the North Dakota State defense. Nate Tangway, as LT mentioned, really going to be big in this game today. Nick DeLuca has been NDSU's best player defensively. He's got a sack, a couple interceptions. He also leads the team in tackles. Trey Dempsey and Chris Board, the safeties, are going to have a nice game today from their possession. Studrud rolls, fires, incomplete. The intended target that time was Luke Stanley. It is incomplete. Will bring up a field goal attempt for Reed Taubenheim.
Well, probably the number one thing that Studrud has improved on from last year, at the end of last year to now, is his footwork, Brian. But right there, he didn't quite have it. His feet weren't quite under him on that little bit of a roll, and his front foot went off to his left, and the ball went down into the turf. So he split the two receivers trying to hit the inside guy and missed him because he wasn't quite ready to make the throw.
Here's Taubenheim's attempt. It is up, and it is good. Seibel knocks it through from 36, and North Dakota grabs the early 3-0 lead, taking advantage of the special teams return by Josh Seibel.
Timeout on the field for media.
Kind of a win by both teams. UND gets on the board first, and NDSU only gives up 3. So I think they both have something they can hang their hat on.
10:33 to go in the first quarter. UND leads at 3-0 on the Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Just 3 yards on 4 plays as UND entered the Superior Inc. red zone for the first time today. But for Bubba Schweigert and his crew, it's a 3-0 lead on the road, and he'll take that anytime.
Absolutely. You always want to lead, but especially when you're in this building and in this environment.
Taubenheim's kick going to come up a little short this time. Bruce Anderson has it at the 10. Follows his blocks up the middle. Anderson to about the 26-yard line. And that's where North Dakota State will have it on their second possession.
Well, I think UND threw a real good mix at Wentz that first series. UND did a number of things that I thought was an interesting look. Obviously, the sack was an all-out pressure, and you got that. But then on the third down play, I like how Schmidt kind of mixed it up. He went to max coverage, and the screen just never developed. I mean, the goal for UND is to try and confuse that guy, and that's hard to do because Wentz knows the game, knows what he's doing.
NDSU will shift as Morlock heads into the tight end position. Urzendowski in motion, inside handoff, and there's room to roll to the outside. Trying to get a block is King Frazier inside the 40-yard line, and North Dakota State springs a big win on the UND defense.
Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. You saw Urzendowski come across the face. Well, that influences the safety just a few steps off to the safety's right. And by doing that, Frazier gets a couple of blocks downfield and is able to bust it. But that's the design. You try to make that defense shift a little bit. The shift worked, and then Frazier's just a big, tough runner, and he got a bunch right there.
35 yards on that run by King Frazier. Averaging 5.7 yards a run. Now back inside to Lance Dunn, a redshirt freshman from Waterloo. And Dunn picks up 2 up to the 37. And Will Rattel comes in to make a tackle, and you'll hear that name a lot. He is all over the football, too.
Well, you mentioned him having 106 tackles last year, the first time it's been over 100 since Digger Anderson. But I thought on that particular play, another guy, number 32, Taj Rich, did a real good job at the point of contact, the point of impact. There's Rich, number 32, coming in and just taking care of the blocker and not allowing the momentum downfield.
Morlock again in motion. Wentz to the air. Has time. Now he'll flush out. And this is what makes Wentz so dangerous. He is tripped up by Taj Rich after a short gain up to the 34.
Well, the NDSU tight ends have not caught a pass yet this year. That sounds really weird, but I think Wentz was trying to find Albers, number 88. And this is after Carson already decided that nothing was open, and it wasn't. There were 3 receivers in the pattern. UND all had them covered very well. And if you're UND and Wentz only gets 4 or 5 yards on you, you're happy with that, because Carson's running dynamic is something that teams just pull their hair out trying to get ready to play the Bison.
So 3rd and 5 coming up. Wentz in the flat, caught by Urzendowski, keeps his feet up to the 25-yard line. Good enough for a North Dakota State first down.
ISO here on Urzendowski. Had such a huge freshman year last year, made monster catches all year long. This one's just a little bit of an out, a fly pattern off the outside. That's just to pull that corner with. And unless you're hugging a linebacker right on Urzendowski, that play will be open almost all day long. But it's dangerous if you put a linebacker that close to the line, because he can turn it up.
8th reception of the season for RJ. Now back to the ground game. Had a good push up front. That North Dakota State offensive line got close to 4 as the true freshman Bruce Anderson gets the carry.
Well, Joe Haig was the offensive lineman in the conference last week, and he had a number 59 right there. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. He crashes down, but Haig had as good a game as Coach Polasek says I've ever seen. I mean, he was 99% on assignments last week, 92% on technique. You don't get better than that. That's a reason that the NFL is not only out here looking at number 11, they're looking at number 59 as well.
Urzendowski, the motion man here. Play clock down to 5. Wentz, quick drop again, fires, caught. That's Zach Brown. Has a first down up to the 13. Coverage on the play by Chris Brown.
Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. Watch King Frazier. There's the key to maybe the whole play. He takes Adowu out of the play, keeps Wentz free on the backside, allows Wentz to be able to have a free look off to his right. But the pass pro, meaning the running backs picking up blockers, it will be a big, big key for NDSU today.
NDSU in the Superior Inc. red zone for the first time. They've been very successful in the red zone this year. 5 of the 8 times they've been in there, they've resulted in touchdowns. Wentz will take off with it here. A couple of North Dakota defenders waiting there for him, including Taj Rich. Comes up with the tackle after a gain of 2.
Now, Rich and Rattel, nobody got to the second level, or none of the middle linebackers got a body on them. And when that happens, those linebackers are supposed to make that tackle, and they will almost every time.
So NDSU knocking on the door as we tick down towards 6 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Wentz will operate out of the shotgun once again. Wentz to throw on the slant. And is it incomplete? He was juggled for just a moment there by Vra. And I think he believes he came down with it after the bobble.
The ball was still in the air. At first reaction was I thought Vra caught it.
I did too. Let's take a look at the Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. Deion Harris was on the coverage for North Dakota. Oh, I think that might be a catch.
I think he did catch it. I thought he caught it. But Harris is as good and as talented as Harris is. That's a position isolated like there against Vra that NDSU thinks it might have an advantage.
And Chris Kleiman's coming down the sideline to call a timeout because I think they want a second look at this, and that's what he's telling the official right now is you need to look at this play. We believe that's a catch.
Because if it is a catch,
that's a first down and goal.
They're in the first down territory. I think this is a good use of a timeout.
I would have to agree.
To make sure that the booth gets a look at it. But we go back to the isolation there where Harris on Vra,
North Dakota State
one-on-one.
has called timeout.
And
it's their first team timeout.
Coach Polasek thought that, hey, we know the Harris, we know his athletic ability, but in high school, he was mostly an offensive guy. So even though it's his second year of playing, college corner, he still doesn't have a lot of experience there. Let's look again.
I just never saw the football hit the ground. Not saying it didn't happen. So
I thought he caught it.
Yeah, it's tough to see on that angle. We'll get another look here on the ends from the end zone look.
This might be the one that lets us know.
And Vra, I think he believes he caught it. There's no question. Now, did it hit the ground there? Must have, huh?
Yep. I think there was the definitive angle. That's not going to be overturned, and it wasn't.
3rd and 8 coming up. Wentz fires across the middle, and he hit his guy right in the face mask, and Andrew Bonnet could not come up with it. Would have been a surefire touchdown.
That's what the Bison are looking for. Boy, Bonnet made a real nice move to get open, cut back inside to the middle, got inside position, did everything right except
catch the football.
Catch the football.
So that will bring on the true freshman Cam Peterson, who connected on 2 field goals last week against Weber State in his first 2 collegiate attempts. This one will be a 28-yard attempt. Peterson puts it up, looks good, and it is. The true freshman now 3 for 3 early in his career, and North Dakota State has tied up UND.
Timeout on the field.
I thought Peterson looked real good too, and that ball with a lot of confidence off his feet.
We're tied at 3 on the 8 Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. More first quarter action from the Fargo Dome coming up. Today's game brought to you by KBOI and the NBC North Dakota Sports Network. A beautiful day for tailgating outside the Fargo Dome today. Temperatures in the mid-60s. And they started lining up for tailgating LT at 5 o'clock yesterday.
I know it.
By 10 o'clock last night, there were over 50 vehicles or contraptions already in line as we get set for another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Peterson Farm contraptions. Well, that's what they are.
I know.
LeCompte, a wobbler, bounces around, stays in bounds, and we returned up at the 15, and down at the 20-yard line is John Santiago. It was not a pretty looking kickoff, but effective for North Dakota State.
Well, LeCompte actually, I think, caught a break because that thing was heading out.
Let's take a look at the Bobcat game recap. 10 plays, 63 yards in just under 5 minutes. I know the Bison would have liked to have ended that drive with a touchdown, but they have tied it up.
Well, it'll be interesting, I think, on this series to see how North Dakota does in trying to establish something on the ground. Paul Rudolph, the offensive coordinator, and Coach Swigert says, we by definition want to be a ground first team. We want to establish the run. Somewhere today, we'll see if they can do it.
North Dakota, some last second shifts and a pitch to the outside for Santiago. He's looking for room and not much there. Pushed out of bounds by C.J. Smith after a gain of just 1. And again, Santiago came into this program as a wide receiver, but the running back situation was so dire, they had no choice but to put him back there. This game brought to you in high definition by Parents Lead. Have conversations that matter with your children. ParentsLead.org for more information.
So many of Santiago's yards against Wyoming were cutbacks and little moves, and NDSU is very good in its run fits, especially trying to squeeze out to the side, to the end line and not allow that to happen. The Bison front seven, very solid.
Play clock down to 3. Studsrud in an empty formation. He is buried back at the 14-yard line. And that sack by Aaron Steidel, the redshirt freshman from Alexandria, is the first of his career.
Well, you like to see the excitement, not only for Steidel himself, but look at everybody else around him. They know it's his first. He just flat beats the man. I mean, that's a one-on-one situation. You squeeze yourself around the right guard, and you just toasted that guy. I mean, that, as a defensive lineman, is what you dream of, is to have a one-on-one and make it look that easy.
Oh, boy, Studsrud trying to make some changes here. Down to 5 on the play clock on 3rd and 16. Bison showing blitz. Here they come. Studsrud drops it off. It is caught by Luke Stanley, but well short of a first down to the 18-yard line.
That was the play that the Bison were telling Studsrud, we're going to give you this, because Champion came off of the defender, help me. Stanley, yeah, that time slid inside, got inside the box and rushed, and so they basically were just left, said, you're going to have this short pass in the flat, and that's it, because Champion came on the rush.
You saw Studsrud talking for a moment there with assistant coach Danny Freund, who was also a quarterback in North Dakota. And one thing Danny said is you don't want him to stare down receivers, and he just needs to speed up what he's doing out there a little bit. Nice punt by Mindell to the 30, but there's going to be a return. Eric Perkins still inside. Perkins down to the 35-yard line. He lost the football, and I think North Dakota may have it.
There's also a block in the back right away too, Brian.
So the ball's coming back regardless. And North Dakota State does get back on top of it. And wouldn't you know it, it's the true freshman Bruce Anderson who gets back on top of it for NDSU. There is a flag on the field, so we'll see what that's all about.
It was a block on the back on the gunner on the high side of the field.
So it looks like, regardless of the situation, the ball will be coming back inside NDSU territory.
There it is. There's the block
right
in the
away.
back.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team.
Then Perkins at the end of that
10-yard penalty.
trying to just
First
squeeze
down.
free, and he left the
Timeout
ball
on
hit
the
the
field
turf.
for media.
3-3. We'll take a break and be back with more first quarter action after this. North Dakota State, as we take a look at the new seed fan cam, getting set for their third possession here in the first half. We're tied at 3. North Dakota set up on a special teams return by Josh Seibel and then a Taubenheim field goal. Inside handoff again. Running back still on his feet. And that is Frazier. King Frazier's got 15 yards up to the 40.
Well, Coach Polasek has already found something that he likes enough to go back to, and both times that Frazier's had it on this look, it has been a big play. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. You don't make the initial tackle, and Frazier's able to bounce it outside and picks up the first. One thing Coach Polasek said, hey, we want to give multiple looks, see what UND is going to do, grouping against those looks, and then pick a few things we like and try and work it, which they did not do at Montana.
Wentz back to the ground. This time it's Chase Morlock. Taken down from behind. Jake Disterhoff in on the stop, along with Connor O'Brien, another backup linebacker. You mentioned it, LT. We've seen a lot of different personnel groupings already from UND. Defensively, there's a look at Brian Labatt, who was a starter last year, but was beat out by Disterhoff this year for that outside linebacker position, but he still gets plenty of snaps. The junior from Detroit Lakes.
Yeah, Labatt had double figures, 12.5 tackles for loss last year, so he was able to make some plays when given the chances.
Morlock will split out. Wentz looking things over here. Still plenty of time on the play clock. And he has time. Fires. And on the coverage was Jameer Irvin Sills, a transfer from Mississippi State. Didn't join the program till late July, and he got there just a little bit early.
Yeah, he may have got to UND late, but on this play, he did get there early.
Well, the fact that Sills is even playing college football is a miracle in its own right. We'll have that story
Pass
in a minute.
interference. Defense number 27. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
It's an automatic first down for NDSU, and NDSU will have a fresh set of downs. And there's a look at Irvin Sills. You caught him there for a moment, number 27. His mother was shot when he was just a teenager. His grandfather died of a heart attack. And his brother actually died in a house fire when he was just 5 years old. And Sills was adopted by a different family, went to Eastern Christian Academy in Maryland. His adopted brother is actually a freshman quarterback at West Virginia. Has overcome a lot in his career to get here. He did start off his career at Mississippi State. How about that play by Connor O'Brien, tracking down the true freshman Bruce Anderson from behind for a loss of 3.
Well, the 3-4 defense is built around speed. You have to have speed at all positions, and there you just blow through you make your read, you see the gap, you blow through it as fast as you can and try and beat the running back to the corner, which is exactly what happened for UND on that play.
And that was Lance Dunn, not Bruce Anderson. So Dunn loses 3 on that play. We'll bring up 2nd and 13. Bunts to the air, will fire across the middle to a wide open receiver. That is Darius Shepard, who was left all alone inside the 30 down to the 29. Had he kept his feet, LT, he might have been gone.
Well, the safety, Juwan Johnson, on that play was looking over to Urzendowski. Urzendowski was making a deep out, which would be off to the bottom of your screen. There you see Johnson coming in a little bit too late, but that was an easy read. It's been kind of interesting, I think, on what Coach Schmidt has been doing on passing downs. He's been trying to drop in coverage, not put as much pressure in terms of bringing blitzes. That time it caught North Dakota.
Dunn will get the handoff again, trying to power ahead for a few yards, and he chugs up to the 25-yard line. On the play was Alec Carruthers. Austin Cieslak also in there.
Now, see, Carruthers is interesting to me because he's playing inside most of the time. Cieslak was the first guy there, but Carruthers is he's light. I mean, he's 245, 250 pounds, and you're trying to play nose. There's the young man from Hazen who we got to know fairly well, at least on the western side of the state. He was a four-sport athlete at Hazen, did so well, but obviously doing things football. For as big as he is, he's a lot more athletic than you might think.
Lentz fires right on the money. Irvin Sills right there to make the tackle, but Vra has a catch up to the 19.
You just take a look at Sills because Vra has a number of options that he more or less can choose on that particular play. How is he being defended? You see, playing off, playing a little soft. You take a 5-yard stop, catch it, and try to get the first down. The Bison just a little bit short. But Coach Polisic said, hey, we challenged our wide receivers in this game to make plays after the catch.
I don't think NDSU is going to get this play off before the first quarter ends. And UND struck first. The Bison got second.
Timeout on the field.
And we're tied at 3 after 1 quarter of play in the Fargo Dome. It's 3-3 on the Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. North Dakota State have met 110 times, all as Division II opponents. This is the first time in meeting 111 as Division I. And it's been a lot of fun to see the fan bases come out, support their programs, and get excited about this one.
Ironically enough, I believe UND is 4-1 in this building.
They are. 3rd and 1 coming up here for NDSU. They are 2 of 4 on 3rd down so far here today. Ground game. Frazier powers ahead. I think he's got enough up to the 18. Let's take a look now at our North Dakota Soybean Council trivia question. And the question is, a fuel similar to diesel that is derived from soybean oil is? You have any idea, LT?
Well, I don't want to give it away.
Okay, well, you can't have that before the answer is shown. That trivia question brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council.
The ruling on the field is that the runner was in advance of the line of gain on the previous play. That ruling is under further review.
They're reviewing the spot. Do you know why I don't want to give it away?
Why is that?
Because I have no idea what the answer is.
They're going to take another look at this, but after what we looked at, it certainly looked like Frazier had enough.
I didn't think it was that close, to be honest with you.
It was interesting. We should mention, LT, that field goal by North Dakota State.
First points.
As Frazier's got up. Is the first points that North Dakota's giving up in the first half this season. Been very good and very stingy against Wyoming and Drake so far. Things certainly get challenging for North Dakota in the future as you go into the Big Sky.
Well, the Big Sky has come to known as just the wide open offense, nobody plays defense type of a thing, and that is what Bubba Schweigert's trying to be the opposite of in that league, I think, in the future, because we talked about how UND wants to be the run first team that plays the good defense. And you go back over the years, back into the Division II days and or whatever, but how are championship teams built? They're built on defense and running the ball. So you almost have to be that way when you know it's worked.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner was in advance of the line to gain. First down, North Dakota State.
So it is, in fact, a first down, as we suspected,
and
as King Frazier got
to be
the
honest with you, for the guys in the booth, it'd be really hard for them to move that ball when you have such a huge mass of people. Where do you know exactly where the ball is? That's why you have a linesman on each side. You trust where they spot it and move on.
So first down at 10 at the 18. As for NDSU, things don't get any easier either. The bye week, and then going to South Dakota State. Jack's playing good football. Then Northern Iowa comes to Fargo for homecoming.
I'm sure the Bison like the fact, though, that they'll take a bye week and have 2 weeks to get ready for the Jacks. I don't know about you, Brian, but this drive feels like it's a touchdown type of a drive here for NDSU.
Wentz, play action, now goes to the air, looking for a flaw, and he is out of bounds. His foot was just on the chalk.
Oh, so close to a touchdown, but Braw's left foot hits out, and that was the point. This one will come right at you. Good look, Nodak Mutual Insurance replay coming right at.
You'll see his left foot.
He is out.
Just out of bounds.
We should say, too, that, you know, Vraw made that catch earlier. He's now second all-time for most catches behind Heckendorf, because he needed just the one, I think, coming in here.
And one more touchdown for Vron. He will tie the all-time NDSU single-season career record for receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, Tim Strelo has that, I think. Is that 26? I think it is. It's a lot of touchdowns.
Wentz, time to the air, sling it out. Could not really step into that throw as pressure was coming. Urzendowski was the intended target. Let's take a look now at our North Dakota Soybean Council trivia question and answer. A fuel similar to diesel that is derived from soybean oil is biodiesel. See, the answer was actually in the question, partially.
We should have known that then, shouldn't we?
We should have known that. We all thought ourselves once again.
Interesting pattern that Urzendowski was trying to run. He was trying to give the impression that he was going to maybe run a little bit of a skinny post and then wheel around to the outside. Urzendowski slipped a little bit right when the pass was thrown.
And play clock winding down. Wentz doesn't like what he sees, and he's going to call for a timeout. Big third down here coming up for North Dakota. They've been able to hold the Bison out of the end zone so far. But already you see the total yardage, LT. 120 total yards for North Dakota State so far, for UND 0.
Well, depending on what happens on this play, I might want to take back that part where I said where I thought this drive felt like a touchdown. A 3rd and 10 inside the red zone. They usually don't, pick these up very often, but we'll see.
Beth Hool on the sidelines has a report. Beth.
Hey guys, that's right. Down here on the sidelines where fans are getting up for this game. Coming into it, we talked about the rivalry aspect of it. Security telling me that they've warned the student section in particular. Of course, a big part here, these fans, whatever age they are, always passionate. They're keeping an eye on things, making sure everyone's keeping it classy and just sharing their pride down here.
Thank you, Beth. The PetroServe USA sideline report. 3rd and 10 coming up. Wentz across the middle. It is caught. Darius Shepard. Touchdown, North Dakota State.
Interesting defense on that play, Brian. With the trip receivers to the high side, UND only put 3 guys on that side, so everyone's one-on-one. Whereas Albers had 3 guys on his side, so there's no safety help here. No one over the top, and Wentz is just able to zip that in right over the shoulder of the defender who did not know the ball was coming. Labatt had no clue when the ball was there to try to play it because the pass beat him to the spot.
Peterson adds the extra point, and North Dakota State has quickly grabbed the lead here in the second quarter, 10-3.
Timeout on the field for media.
Perfectly thrown football. Wentz, 10 plays, 75 yards on the 20-yard strike to Darius Shepard, who has his first career touchdown, the redshirt freshman. And the one thing I know Aaron Schmidt wanted to avoid was having long drives. And that's the one thing that Tim Polasek did want. Yes, we want the big play, but we want to sustain some long drives and try to keep that UND defense on the field, and that's what they've done. LeCompte, another Peterson farm seat kickoff, taken on the sideline at the 7-yard line. Now cut back to the inside. Ooh, he is met On the return there was Alex Reed, a junior from Iowa Western Community College. And he was stuck at the 20-yard line. Big hit on the play by Matt Plank.
Plank came down, Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, and a flag came out at the very end. Two guys all at once. Plank had some help. Oh, Chase Morlock was also there.
During the return, illegal block, return team number 115, half the distance to the goal, first down.
So an illegal block below the waist, so that'll back up North Dakota even more. Back to the 10.
Well, it's the one thing UND did not want to have is long fields. We saw after Seibel's punt, what did that lead to? Well, it led to points. I don't get the sense that a sustained running game is going to happen today for UND. I know we're early in the game. They've rushed the ball for -3 yards, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And if it doesn't, you need big plays through the air. Just to get the ball across midfield, you need a 40-yarder.
So Studsrud with 5 on the play clock, trying to get the offensive line set. Seibel in motion. Inside handoff, not much, maybe a yard.
Well, you can tell Studsrud's having an issue with the noise.
And that was the first carry of the day for Brady Oliveira, another one of those running backs that's a true freshman that North Dakota's hoping to get some mileage out of this season.
And Nate Tangway, I think, is one of the guys that ends up being the first one there in that great big pile, but there was just no push. And I really don't know if the guard and the centers, and the center and guard, I should say, are going to be able to do that today right up the gut for UND.
4 receivers set empty here. Studsrud will try to take off, but Tangway's all over him with Greg Menard for a loss of 4. When you talk to UND offensive coaches this week, number 99 was a concern, and you see why here on this play.
Studsrud wants to pull down and run, and he just runs right into Tangway. And I don't know if Studsrud saw his first read, didn't like it, and just tried to bail out of it, or if that was a designed type of a run.
This game is brought to you in high definition by Speak Volumes, who reminds you that one drink isn't always one drink. 3rd and 12. Handoff inside. The Bison defense all over it again. He is gang tackled for maybe a gain of 1.
Tucker was the first one there. He had Ambrosius cracking down from his left defensive end position, not allowing a cutback. It looked like to me that Santiago was trying to wait for something to open up back to the middle of the field in the near side, and Ambrosius just collapsed it on him.
Kyle Norberg, his first carry, not much there. As you mentioned, G. Tucker, first-year starter, played as a true freshman from Belleville, has a cousin that is redshirting on the team in Dom Davis, and another cousin that is a starting running back at the University of Wyoming in Brian Hill. Mindell, kind of a wobbler, taken at the 46. That's Shepard trying to get the edge. Shepard stays in bounds, and he is finally pushed out of bounds at the 22-yard line. And North Dakota State now on a short field again.
He was dangerously close to stepping out right between the 40 and the 45, and then he took that left foot, kept it just in, and then was able to keep his momentum to gain almost another 20 yards after that.
Boy, how about a first half there for Darius Shepard, who now has 4 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown, along with this nice kickoff return into North Dakota territory. 12:06 to go in the second quarter. Bison set up on a short field again. Total yard discrepancy. Wow, 138 total yards so far for North Dakota State. UND -1. Wentz to the air. In the flat. Caught. Nice comeback route. Urzendowski makes another catch.
For the Bison back into the red zone, and so far this year 9 of 11, with 6 of those becoming touchdowns. So when NDSU gets to this point on the field, points are almost always going to come from it. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, no pressure at all on Wentz. It's a quick pass, it's an easy read for him. Just again, you're picking whatever the corner gives you. Corner's playing deep, you'll chuck it short, we'll take our 7 or 8 yards and move on.
Bison in the Superior Inc. red zone once again. Been successful today as King Frazier motions back into the backfield. Quick throw out to Urzendowski. He'll cut it inside. RJ, touchdown, North Dakota State.
If Urzendowski doesn't make the nice move to get in the end zone, Zach Braw's going to say, I'm sorry, I missed my guy. There you see Braw trying to go for the cut, and Urzendowski slams that foot into the turf, makes a nice cut, keeps his shoulder squared, and he is in. And after the long punt return, that was a quick, easy drive for NDSU.
The safety overran the play there as Urzendowski cut back. And Nadeau unable to make the tackle from behind. And Cam Peterson adds the extra point, and boy, in the blink of an eye, it goes from a tied game to a 14-point lead for the Bison. We'll be back with more first quarter action after this. North Dakota State leads 17-3 over UND, and Beth Houle on the sideline has a PetroServe USA sideline report. Beth?
Hey guys, so many times in NDSU football games you've seen NDSU dominate in the second quarter. Already this one barely underway, and they've taken a commanding control, standing on the sidelines with the Bison. You hear them all saying, keep it going all the way till half. They look to push the pedal to the metal here for these next 11 minutes and 16 seconds.
Thank you, Beth. Yeah, boy, North Dakota State has turned things around in a hurry here as LeCompte will angle this one towards the sideline, and somehow it stays in again. And once again, a tough spot for Alex Reed to be in. Gets it up to just the 12-yard line, and LT North Dakota now backed up on a long field again. Yeah,
Reed had no choice once the ball stays in. He thought that one was going out as well. The last time that it came to him in that similar position, he was trying to work to the middle of the field. This time, I think Reed just thought, I've got to take what I can get, and it's only going to be about 5 yards.
There's a look at Chris Kleiman. Has to like what his defense has done so far. Just minus 1 yard given up. As North Dakota does not have a third down conversion yet today.
As much as UND wants to be a running team, I don't know how much longer they can afford to try to be a running team in this first half.
Things not getting any quieter in the Fargo Dome. Studsrud. Pitch outside. A little bit of room that time for Oliveira. Picked up 4 yards up to the 18. MJ Stumpf made the tackle for North Dakota State.
One of the best plays for the UND offensive line in the game was right there. Good job at the point of attack, helped clear the hole. Stumpf was doing what he had to do, but if you can get to him second level, even though he hits you right away, he hits you at 3 yards, you take 2 more, and all of a sudden you're in a positive second down and 5. You'll like that.
Play action this time. Studsrud under pressure, and down he goes back at the 10-yard line. Jordan Champion with the sack.
Well, the Bison tried this earlier in the game down here where they let Champion come inside and then rush. This time he gets to the quarterback. The first time he didn't. It was a short little completion on a 3rd and long. Studsrud can't even come close to getting squared up into a passing situation. You see where his feet were? His left foot wasn't even pointed upfield yet. So there's no way he could have passed it because Champion was on him so quickly.
And the true freshman Oliveira missed the block. 3-down lineman for NDSU on 3rd and long. Studsrud has time, now under pressure, throws it away, and this one is knocked away by Jalen Allison, also in on the coverage. Looked like C.J. Smith in there as well.
Allison was the closest one to it. There you see Stanley trying to get the ball to Stanley. Dempsey reaches around, his timing was pretty good, and then Allison slides in there at the back end of it.
So UND unable to do anything offensively here in the first half. And the Bison may get good field position once again.
And Stanley had such a nice game last week, was able to get balls. He got the big play downfield. You know, Seibel got open a bunch of times last week. Right now, those wideouts cannot get open either.
Mindell, pretty good punt this time, drives the return man back to the 39. That's Shepard again, and has a little more room up the middle into UND territory up to the 46.
There's the whole key right there. You're starting in UND territory, so NDSU again will have a very short field to work with. And what happened on that series? Minus 3 more yards, so UND can't even get positive yardage.
A stark contrast to what happened in their season opener, where they were able to churn up the yards at Wyoming. Much different story today.
Well, the next time UND gets the ball, maybe we can talk a little bit about why I think that happened against Wyoming, and it didn't happen much last week, and it's not happening this week.
Unbalanced line, Wentz. Handoff to Morlock. He is driven back by Will Rattel. Nice play by the senior captain for a loss of 1.
Irvin Sills also doing a good job from his corner spot, crashing down on that. This is an outside G. This is a play that the Bison thought would work well today, to maybe try to get outside and try to take advantage of some things off tackle. Certainly defended well right there by North Dakota.
We talked about Will Rattel and how much he's meant to this UND program. Has gone through some of the ups and downs, certainly, in his time in the program. A senior from St. Thomas Academy. Anderson, the motion man. Empty backfield here for Wentz on second down. And he flushed out, and now he might run. He cuts it inside up to about the 38. 3 yards short of a first down. Cole Reyes came up to force him down. Big third down coming up here. As you take a look at the 6'6" senior from Bismarck.
Boy, the scouts have been, they know their way to Fargo, let's put it this way. And we're talking scouts, we're talking NFL scouts. 3 different directors of college scouting from the NFL. These are the big guys. 3 of those guys from NFL teams have been here already this year looking at Wentz and Haig. But mostly Carson Wentz.
Third and short, Wentz fires. This one is caught. And a first down for North Dakota State. The Bison continuing to move the football, converting third downs, and I think that's Shepard again on another catch.
Shepard's the middle of the 3 guys on the high side, and you'll see Cole Reyes, the strong safety, gamble. Reyes is going to make a play on the, and well, not really on the ball. He just missed it. Low throw. Shepard ducks under it and takes off upfield. Rattel has to come and make the tackle, but yeah, Reyes closed but didn't break down and was out of position fundamentally to make a play once the ball got there.
Boy, a coming out party today for Darius Shepard. 5 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown. Just in the first half alone. Wentz play action. Wide open receiver. Chase Morlock on the wheel route. Touchdown Bison.
Well, this is certainly a play that UND knows that the Bison have in their playbook because it's worked well already this year, but Morlock was able to slide out. Reyes trying to catch up. He's out of position on the safety, didn't make the read fast enough, and that is about as easy as it gets right there. You also have Moody on the outside running hard to the middle, trying to influence the safety, and in this case it's Reyes, so he can't make the play to the ball. Well designed, well executed.
Peterson on to add the extra point. Able to do it. 24-3 as the Bison have scored 24 unanswered since UND took an early 3-0 lead. And let's take now a look at the New Seed fan cam. The fans have been out all night and all morning and now all afternoon. It is a gold rush here at the Fargo Dome, so almost everybody you see today, at least for North Dakota State fans, are wearing that Bison gold. Well,
it makes sense the fans would wear gold because the Bison have the gold uniforms on. NDSU is 18-0 in the gold unis. They haven't lost.
It's looking like 19-0 is certainly a possibility today, the way they're controlling things up front.
Well, if we were in Vegas, I would ask you what the odds are right now that it doesn't end up being 19-0.
I'd have a hard time telling you.
The way it looks, you know, something crazy is going to happen positive for UND to turn this thing around.
Really interesting talking about Tim Pawlicek, the offensive coordinator at NDSU, and the UND defensive coordinator, Eric Schmidt. And they both felt like they had decent plans. And even Schmidt, he said, you know, with this offense, we have to be calculated in what we do. And we can't do just one thing all day long. But right now, the defense really looks like they're on their heels.
To be honest with you, I thought that Eric would be a little more aggressive. He's not coming as hard against Wentz. But the thing is if you come hard and you miss, you don't get him, you're in really, really big trouble.
And a short kickoff down to the 13. Again, it's taken by Reed, and he's swallowed up by a bunch of Bison tacklers at the 23-yard line. And boy, I tell you, these guys in special teams are popping each other today. Wow.
Thought I saw Chris Board was down there among others. Andrew Smith, number 28, another guy down there. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. Reed just has really had no chance, no opportunity to try to even make a play. Bo Lekas, excuse me. I think we officially changed that after calling him Lekas for a couple of years.
I think that was the deal. The play clock is not functioning right now. I think the UND offense is kind of looking to see what's going on.
Yeah, put 25 on it and reset things.
There we go.
Double tight end look. Power I formation. Old school look right here. Of course, Seibel will bounce out of it. Looks like Smith really wants to come on the edge. I don't know that he will.
Studrud gives it off to Oliveira, and he is drilled in the backfield again. The Bison defense getting it done. Greg Menard, the true sophomore from Lakeville, with a big TFL.
Menard makes the tackle because Tangway absolutely exploded through the gut of that thing. He forced this play to get bellied out. Look at Tangway, number 99, splits the two. The belly comes out. Your teammate makes a wide open, and it's another minus. I mean, UND is just going backwards. I think it hurt 7 yards negative in total offense, but Tangway's having a big game today.
Oliveira has some room this time and able to squeeze through a hole, taken down by Nick DeLuca and Trey Dempsey after a gain of close to 7.
A little bit of false motion up front there by North Dakota in showing that the play, pulling a guy, showing the play is going to come to the offense's right. Well, it's obviously going to the left. There you see the influence coming near you. Less players to the side where the ball's going, and it was a positive play that time, but still a third and relatively long.
3rd and 6. North Dakota State has not converted a 3rd down today. Quick drop from Studrud, drops it off. Oliveira's going to try to get there, but he's pushed out of bounds by G. Tucker. Before he could do so, going to come up about 4 yards short.
I think Brian DeLuca makes a pretty good read right away when the pass flares out to the wing. DeLuca didn't get there, but he forces the running back, in this case Oliveira, so far outside that Tucker is able just to be able to squeeze him off and close him off before he was, actually I thought he was closer to the 1st down, but he's still way back at about the 31, so that play didn't gain as much yardage as I thought.
I think the UND coach is hoping they can just get in the locker room down what they are. Mindell on once again. Fair catch. At the 25-yard line by C.J. Smith, and that's where the Bison offense will have it as we have 5:23 to go here in the first half. And does Eric Schmidt here get more aggressive defensively, LT?
I think you got to try something. I mean, this 3-4 and the way that Bubba called, he was very aggressive, and I think Schmidt's kind of a lot like Schweigert was. And, you know, Coach Hedberg said when we were at Southern Illinois having to go against this 3-4, they were just so good at trying to bring one more person than you have blockers, figure out what that number is. So far, UND hasn't done a lot of that today, just the all-out go. And when they did, they got to Wentz once. No blitz this time.
North Dakota has that one covered up. No gain.
It's Tank Harris, a redshirt freshman out of Chicago. And we talked about Carruthers, number 93, the starting nose guard, how we didn't know how many snaps he was going to play because he's so light at 245, 250. Well, that young man's 300 pounds, and against NDSU, you need someone to try to anchor the center position in the middle, the nose guard. So he's played way more snaps than Carruthers has so far in the first half.
Yeah, Tank Harris, just a redshirt freshman, 6'3", 300 pounds. Certainly has the element of size in the middle, the 3-4.
Dobu looks like he's coming off the edge.
Play action. Wentz fires it out. R.J. Urzendowski stays in bounds. A Sills missed the tackle. And R.J. Urzendowski up to the 45-yard line. And up for the Bison first down and a gain of close to 22.
Well, every week I always like to ask Coach Polasek what are some of the points of emphasis. And we mentioned it earlier, but one of his points of emphasis, he said, I challenge the wide receivers as a group to make positive plays after the catch. And so Urzendowski wasn't content with picking up the first down and hopping out where he caught it. No, he rolled back in and got another 10.
Ground game. Frazier sidesteps a couple of tacklers. Eventually taken down by Zach Arnell, but he's got 8 more yards inside UND territory of the 46.
Well, that's a play the Bison last week ran 21 times. That power play up the middle. When you're gaining 9 on first down, you're going places.
Zach Arnell, a junior college transfer, was hurt much of last year. A lot of schools backed off, and UND was able to get him. Bruce Anderson, driven back by Will Rattel, among others. Going to be very close to a first down. Might be a little short, depending on where the spot is.
I thought he was short on the initial stop, but it's actually closer than my first guess. But Rattel's 51. He's going to get help from Rich. There you see Rich get inside of Joe Haig. So Haig couldn't move him upfield. He was able to slide him to the right, but Rattel was already first guy there. So a nice double team by the 2 inside backers.
I tell you what, when you see Will Rattel without shoulder pads on, he looks like he should be in the MMA ring. This guy has one of the biggest necks I've ever seen.
So you're saying he's worked out maybe a time or two?
Holy smokes. Morlock follows his blocks. He's got enough for a first down. Pushes the pile ahead up to the 42.
Yeah, I think it was Cieslak that was just kind of holding on, number 91, but by that time the first down was already made. So the Bison interior doing a fine job right now of just getting hat on hat, moving people.
Jeremy Kelly, they were able to get the lead block on Rattel, and Jeremy Kelly playing with a hurt shoulder. He's got a bad hamstring. Continues to battle his tail off out there despite all that.
But without Zach Johnson being in the starting lineup, there's no way that he can afford to take a play or a day off.
There's room to run again. Nice open field tackle by the safety Cole Reyes, or Frazier might be dancing in the end zone.
That play looked big. We were just talking about Kelly. Kelly got a little bit of a kick out block on the pull, and then Reyes was able to get in there and grab onto the ankle. But I thought that one as well, Brian, from where we sit up here, that one looked big. But the NDSU offensive line right now is having a lot of fun. That unit is moving people.
Taking down towards 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Wentz will throw. Pressure comes. He gets rid of it. Wide open receiver. It was broken up as Dimitri Williams, a true freshman, was hit hard by another true freshman, Tyus Carter.
Well, there's an instance where UND, we talked about sending more people than NDSU has blockers. That was an instance. So Wentz was able to step up. I mean, he planted. He didn't really step up, but he's going to get drilled and drilled hard right after he releases the ball. So Wentz puts it on target and on the spot, but both good separation. Rich gets to the quarterback, and the DB is able to get to the receiver both times. Good timing. Nice play defensively right there by UND.
So a third down coming up here. Pressure comes. Wentz going downfield, and it was just a little bit underthrown. Had that pass been out in front, might have been a touchdown.
But Wentz didn't have time. There was 2 plays in a row where Coach Schmidt decided we're just going to, pin our ears back and come at him. Send some people at number 11 and see if they can get him off his timing and off his mark. Wentz again hit pretty hard. Not enough to be able to get the ball upfield. He couldn't get that front planted, I don't think, Brian, to get it downfield deep enough. So UND did a good job to force the punt.
Shepard again, the intended target. Cole Reyes was on coverage there for UND.
Early flag.
End over end punt. Drops at the 2 and down at the 1-yard line.
DeLuca.
Gets it done on defense, also gets it done on special teams, but we'll see what the flag is.
The near side lineman, as soon as the ball was snapped, threw her in the air. So which one was lined up off?
Illegal formation. More than 5 players in the backfield. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 4th down.
So they'll re-kick it, as UND certainly doesn't want to take over at their own 2, and will hope for a better result here.
You know, we've seen LeCompte do this so many times, you almost come to expect it, don't you? Well, should be inside the 10. He does it all the time. What a weapon. You don't usually talk about punters as being a weapon, but he has been.
And Mindell's actually done a really good job on the other side, too. I mean, these are the #1 and #2 punters in the FCS in average yardage punts. This one is not as good. Santiago, Seibel comes up and makes the fair catch at the 21.
Well, the flag is certainly a break there for North Dakota. You're staring at it being at your own goal line again at about the 3, and now you got it back out to the 22. But look at where UND has started these offensive possessions in the second quarter.
Way back.
It has been not good for the team in white. And Studsrud has not been able to really get into any sort of rhythm. He just doesn't look comfortable.
Just a true sophomore from Benilde St. Margaret's High School. Handoff inside, tough running. Picked up close to 4 yards for Norberg, who's more of a power kind of back for UND.
Actually a linebacker last year.
Yeah.
He played linebacker last year, and then North Dakota likes who they had coming back at linebacker, and he got shifted into the running back position last year. Actually 2 years ago, I guess. 2 years ago he was a linebacker. Last year he went to running back because UND had so many issues in trying to find a healthy running back last year.
His dad was actually an AAU bodybuilding champion in 1988. And his son Kyle's got into that a little bit too. You kind of see it the way he stands as he tries to run over Jordan Champion. That didn't work out too well. No gain, maybe a loss of 1.
Well, that man right there has a lot of want to when it comes to tackling the football. One of the things corners have to do in a Tampa 2 is be able to tackle, and Champion is outstanding at it. He just flat beats Seibel. Josh Seibel is the guy out here trying to block him, and he just outworked him to the spot and beat the runner to the edge. Champion, the best corner that NDSU has at doing that, stopping the run.
Just 15 seconds to go. 3rd and 7 for North Dakota. A Seibel, the motion man, and now there's all sorts of confusion, and the flag comes out with 7 seconds to go here in the second half.
Adler moved, Meehan moved on the right side.
UND 0 of 5 on 3rd down so far here this afternoon.
What's time of possession right now, Brian? Because that's one thing that UND did well in its first 2 games.
Almost 2-1, 19-23 in favor of NDSU.
Okay, because it was 34-25 average after 2 games that North Dakota had in its advantage in having the ball on offense.
The Bison had the football over 40 minutes last week against Weber State, and they're on track
offense,
for the same kind of number this afternoon here.
The play requires a 10-second runoff. That's the end of the first half.
Too, so this should be the half. That's it.
So that will be the end of the first half, and after a strong start by UND, North Dakota State has scored 24 points in a row to take a 24-3 lead. Beth Houle will try to catch up with head coach Chris Kleiman here in just a second. Get his thoughts here on the first half.
Well, you know how coaches are. They can find negative in anything, but he'd have to dig pretty hard, I think, to find negative in the first half.
And Beth has the PetroServe sideline report with Chris Kleiman.
Hey, guys. that's right. Coach, offense finding their stride here, to say the least. What can you say about the game Polisek's calling and how close this is to the game plan you guys came up with?
Well, our guys are making plays, and Carson's doing a great job distributing the ball, and we're making some things happen after the catch. You saw it with RJ, Bra, Darius, things that we have to do to be successful.
At one point, UND held to -7 rushing or -7 total yards. What can you say about your defense in this one?
It's only 30 minutes. We got 30 more.
Of course, though, we would expect nothing less from Coach Kleiman. Guys, we've got more coming up after the break with head coach from UND, Bubba Schweigert.
All right, thank you, Beth. Well, you know what? If I'm a coach, I'd be happy with 5 total yards of first half yardage if you're giving that up defensively. But
Absolutely.
I'm not Chris Kleiman. We'll be back with the Proceed Halftime Report. Alex Egan, Chris Berg, and DJ Coulter standing by, and we'll have more coming up after this timeout. North Dakota State leads at 24-3 here at the half. Thanks, guys. Beth Houle had a chance to catch up with UND head coach Bubba Schweigert on the sideline and has that report for us, Beth.
All right. Hey, guys, that's right. Joined here by UND head coach Bubba Schweigert. Coach, offense struggling to get much going there. What'd you say at halftime? Where do you guys adjust from here?
Well, right now we got to get some good body language going here and believe we can move the football. You know, we just got to get a good first down and get a first down to get some confidence. It's a tough environment. We knew that coming in, and I hope our response is a little bit better here the second half.
How important is it to get that spark, to get that momentum on either side of the ball to get something going here?
Well, we need to get a turnover. We need to get a first score here or something just to get some momentum going.
All right, well, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you very much, Beth. That PetroServe USA sideline report with head coach Bubba Schweigert. And you heard Bubba say it, LT. It really just starts with something simple. Let's just get a first down.
Well, how did the points come? Seibel had a 54-yard punt return, so something like that, helped spark UND in the first half. But obviously, in the course of the regular play calling is where UND wants something, and what Bubba was talking about, positive.
Ben Lecomte, Peterson Farm Seed kickoff, and this one will go out of bounds at the 6-yard line. So North Dakota will at least have some decent field position here.
Well, he's been dancing with the sideline all in the first half, and so far the bounces have kind of gone his way. But this one does go out, and the ball comes out to the 35.
Brian Shawn and Lee Timmerman joining us from here in the Fargo Dome as the rivalry gets rekindled for the first time in 12 years. The first time
Kickoff out of bounds.
North Dakota State and North
Kicking
Dakota have
team,
played
number
as Division
19.
I opponents, and
Ball
certainly a
be placed at the
one-sided affair so
35-yard
far
line.
as the 4-time defending
First
national
down.
champs has pretty much controlled all aspects of the football game.
Once we got to about the midway point of that first quarter, from there on out to the half was a total disaster for UND.
Keaton Studsrud, not a great first half. Just 2 of 5 for 5 yards. He was sacked twice.
UND only had 12 rushing plays, only 17 plays in the entire first half.
Pitch to the outside. Good pursuit again by the Bison defense. Pickup of close to 2. Brian Schatz out there along with MJ Stump. And I think that was the first career carry for Iwari Smith, a true freshman who has not played yet, getting his red shirt pulled today. He just turned 17 years old. He's a very young college football player, but they really like his upside.
Obviously extremely talented to have Smith. We were kind of led to believe that this was going to happen today, that they were going to pull the red shirt and give the young guy a try. I mean, North Dakota wants somebody to establish himself in that tailback position, and despite Santiago's big game against Wyoming, I don't know that it's happened yet.
Smith can't get away. Well, he did get away
Rookie.
briefly there, but eventually it was Robbie Grimsley hanging on and finished off by Trey Dempsey.
Yeah, Grimsley, first guy there. He's another freshman, so the two freshmen going up against each other. Grimsley, I know that Coach Yentz said, yeah, he's having some young issues. And I go, what does that mean? He goes, mostly with the terminology and communication, but in terms of just going and getting the football, the reason he's playing as a freshman is because he has the talent to do it.
And a 2014 Minnesota Mr. Football out of Hutchinson. Greg Menard was offsides, and this play is going to be blown dead as Studsrud was buried. But again, I think this one's going to get moved up.
You called it right off the get-go.
Offside. Defense, number 96.
He did get
5-yard
to the
penalty.
quarterback.
3rd down.
With a 2.5-step head start.
So instead of 3rd and 7, it will be 3rd and 2. Aaron Steidl coming on. And Nate Tangway will take a break. Some other last-minute substitutions here for North Dakota State.
That nose guard position has been a big one today. You mentioned the two guys that have played it, and they both played it well.
Talking to Matt Entz about Tangway, who's really had a big game. He said, you know, there are times he was a little bit of a knucklehead last year. But he said this year he's really coming to his own, become one of our best defenders overall. Bison showing some pressure. They got 8 in the box. Studsrud going to throw it with a man in his face. This one is almost intercepted as Jordan Champion stepped in front of Seibel. Good thing that ball was underthrown.
Absolutely. If Studsrud is able to plant and throw this as hard as he wants to get it into a position where Seibel could maybe catch it, it's 6 the other way. There's no doubt about it. Champion would have had the pick.
There's a look at the isolation. There's Champ had pretty good coverage on the sophomore from Bismarck.
Of course, Champion after game 1 was really hard on himself because he was the point of a lot of Grizzly big plays, and he tried to take it upon himself to play much better, and he was in perfect position there.
Mindell, a nice high punt. C.J. Smith calls for the fair catch at the 15-yard line, and that's where the North Dakota State offense will have it. And they had a lot of success, in particular through the air, LT. 158 first-half pass yards there for Carson Wentz, who went to a lot of different players in that first half.
Yeah, Wentz was 12 of 19, I believe it was, in that first half of the 3 touchdowns. But the thing I thought was interesting, of the incompleted passes, it seemed like the most effective ones were when UND came. They came and tried to hit him hard, so there was some pressure that got there every once in a while, but by and large, yeah, Wentz, he was spreading the ball around.
3 receivers here on first down, and Wentz a quick drop. We'll dump it off to Bonnet. First catch of the season for Andrew Bonnet through 2.5 games. And Bonnet's a guy they've wanted to get involved, but frankly, Tim Polisic, when you ask him about it, said, well, we've had so much success on Carson's first read, we haven't had to come back to a lot of the underneath stuff.
Well, if you want to call him a tight end or do you want to call him a fullback, in this instance, let's call him a tight end. If he is a tight end, then it's the first catch by any of the tight ends. But yeah, you're right. Coach Polisic said that Wentz's first reads have been so quick, and often the check is the tight end or the fullback, that those guys just haven't had as many catches as you would normally think, because the tight ends are a very important part of the passing game, as we've seen over the course of the last handful of years.
And Frazier, nice open field tackle at the point of the tech by Taj Rich. Rich, a recruit they were really excited about in Chris Mussman's last year. They were able to get out of Minneapolis. Holds the D1 record for tackles in a game for North Dakota, 19 against Stony Brook last year.
Second on the team in tackles last year behind Rattel.
Also 2 sacks this year, including 1 at Wyoming. So the Bison in a 3rd and 5. Pressure coming from North Dakota. Wentz gets rid of it, and it is caught in stride by Fry, who keeps his feet. Zach Fry still going inside UND territory, eventually dragged down by Zach Arnell at the UND 43.
That was real interesting on the back end of that play, because I think Urzendowski felt that the ball was coming to him, because he kind of turned around and put his left arm out like, oh, you threw it behind me. No, he hit Vra right in stride. So he was able to zip it right through there. See how Urzendowski was looking like, uh-oh, that's behind me. But no, then Vra, I would have to say that the wide receivers have lived up to what Coach Polisic wanted, yards after the catch this week.
So a big passing play there on 3rd and 5. And NDSU moving the chains, now back to the ground game. Another nice open field tackle. Cole Reyes takes down Frazier for a loss of 2.
Yeah, Reyes is a kid that Eric Schmidt says he's the type of guy that we want at safety. He's got really good size, decent speed, not afraid to come up and hit somebody.
When you talk to the coaches too, this, last year we didn't really look the part. We looked like a Division I team.
Yeah.
Now he goes, we had saggy pants, guys, little arms coming out some of their jersey. They were just young. They're developing this program from the inside out.
Well, Schmitty said flat out last year the talent did not match what we wanted to do. He says we're getting closer to that.
Play action for Wentz. Going up top. Looking for this deep receiver, and I think the flag came in, and that was Nate Moody, who was in one-on-one coverage with Deion Harris, the true sophomore.
Watch the little hand fight here. Moody may be, well, they both have hands on each other. I think Moody might be called on this one. I don't know. There was certainly contact. I thought for a moment there Moody was able to get enough separation to maybe get to that catch. There's a guy who redshirted last year, because his knee hurt so bad, wanted a really good, healthy, or senior season, and he's getting it.
Pass interference, defense,
Yeah,
number
it's a tough
19.
call.
15-yard penalty.
That was going to be a tough call no
Automatic
matter
first
who you
down.
called it.
It makes you wonder. Would you have thrown a flag there?
Don't ask me. I'm not an official. I only criticize them on TV. It's much easier where we're at. But no.
It looked like pretty good hand fighting. It was pretty even across the board. Yeah, he did have his hands on in there. And I guess did
the
impede.
jersey did tug a little bit.
Tug, yeah.
And a lot of times that's what they're looking for. They'll let each guy battle the other. It was certainly a one-on-one situation. But when the Moody's jersey got tugged just a little bit, well, then obviously you have more than just hand fighting.
UND really likes the future of Deion Harris. Again, just a true sophomore, but he's got a lot of length, can battle with a lot of those big receivers in the Big Sky. So Wentz out of the shotgun on 1st and 10 with the ball now at the 30.
A lot of different looks. Coach Polasek giving UND's defense a lot of different looks, and now
they're running out of time. Carson Wentz is going to call a timeout with 1 on the play clock, and was motioning a few guys in and out between Urzendowski and Morlock.
North Dakota State has called their first timeout of the half.
Well, I think Morlock
This will be a
shifted and Wentz
30-second
didn't
team
want him to,
timeout.
and tried to get Chase back into that position, and then ran out of time.
This game brought to you in high definition by Parents Lead. Have conversations that matter with your children. Log on to parentslead.org for more information.
I still kind of like that Wentz took a shot downfield to Moody, because Nate doesn't have a chance to catch many balls.
Yeah, and he called one last week against Weber State in the second half. And again, the knee is still bugging him, and it's not 100%. But trying to gut through it. People do forget, you brought it up, LT. This guy started in the national championship game in the first one they won in 2011 against Sam Houston State. People forget that sometimes. The receiving core was so depleted that year. Bison glided their way to a 17-6 victory in Frisco.
That was about the only one that was a grind. The others were pretty good domination in the title game.
Pressure coming, Wentz flushed, and he cannot get away from Will Rattel, who comes up with the sack in a big loss of 10.
Well, no one slows him down. Rattel comes free, and this is the instance where UND won the numbers game. Send more than the Bison have in their blocking. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, right up the gut, trying to play off of the other blitz from the outside. No one picked him up or was able to scrub off. Well executed.
We talked to some of the UND coaches. There have been some scouts coming in and looking at Rattel as potentially a fullback prospect at the next level.
It looks like a fullback, doesn't it?
Has the size.
Wentz changing the play a little bit.
Second and 19.
No safety deep over the middle.
Straight drop. This one right on the money. Fra tiptoes the sidelines. He's working on Harris. Pushed out of bounds by Arnell up to the 33.
No pass pattern came over the middle, so actually, it mentioned no safety deep, but then the Bison didn't have a pass route called or the time to try to get a guy there, so Wentz took what he could, and he goes to Zach Bra. I mean, he's a guy that's, I don't know if there will be any more receiving records without his name on top of it after this season's over.
And a productive player. All 4 years he's been able to play fully, and even last year he missed some time. Still very effective. And this one is almost intercepted as Wentz threw into double coverage over the top, and that one should have been picked off by Jawan Johnson.
Wentz will want that one back. That was his first, I think, poor read of the day. He had some time. He was getting a little greedy on that one on the 3rd and long. It was like 3rd and 13 on that particular play. And you're right, he tried to squeeze it into a place that just didn't exist and probably should have been picked. UND has no interceptions this year. They have had their hands on the ball. That's been an issue from the DBs this year by North Dakota.
Cam Peterson on for a 50-yard attempt. Looks like it has enough as it bounced off the crossbar and through. The true freshman, good from 49.
Well, for his sake, thank
Timeout on
goodness
the
it
field
wasn't
for
49
media.
and a half. It wouldn't have got there.
How about that? The true freshman stays perfect on the season.
That was not the option. He was not option number 1 when the season started. He kind of earned that job too, I think, just because of some things that were not successful.
NDSU leads at 27-3 on the Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. 8:38 to go in quarter number 3. Take a look at the new seed fan cam as we're back at the Fargo Dome. North Dakota State leading 27-3. It's been a festive day in Fargo and in Grand Forks for that matter, and really across the entire state of North Dakota as these two teams get back on the field once again. Ben LeCompte sends one deep. Reed will take a knee about 7 yards deep, and we will take another break. 27-3 in the 3rd quarter. UND will have it from their own 25 when we come back.
Timeout on the field for media.
The 111th meeting between North Dakota State and North Dakota on KVLY on the NBC North Dakota Sports Network today. Proud to bring it to you. And Santiago on the first play of that UND drive, swallowed up again by Nate Tangway, and he's been all over the place and a real problem for the UND offense in the middle.
Yeah, Tangway is right off the top. We said a guy who we thought was going to play a major impact in this defensive effort. He's number 99. You'll see then the exchange was not clean. Tangway doesn't even look like he was touched. He obviously was. He had to scoop by someone to get into position and not even let Santiago come close to bouncing that play outside. No gain.
Studsrud going to roll out this time. Stump gives chase, and this one incomplete.
Well, Tangway came free again, so it was a good thing that was a designed rollout play. Otherwise, Keaton Studsrud would have had another big look at number 99. Smith guarding.
Seibel couldn't quite hang on to that one. Probably would have been out of bounds anyway,
But Seibel's a guy who's had more catches than anyone this year coming into this game, and man, that still wasn't a very good look. I mean, we obviously know on the ground it hasn't been good, but through the air, zip for UND today.
And Seibel actually led the team in receptions last season and didn't even play till game 6.
Yeah.
Just a walk-on from Bismarck. Studrud's under pressure again, steps up and taken down as a couple of flags come flying in.
There's a hold.
Brian Schatz in on that stop. And Nick DeLuca also in on there.
I think there was a hold on the outside rush to the near side. It was a holding.
You'd have to
it
think
was
that
third down.
Yeah, NDSU would probably decline this to get the football
Holding.
back.
Offense, number 78. The foul's declined.
Yeah,
4th down.
That was Stockwell on the outside going up against Menard, I think.
They like Stockwell's upside. But the UND offensive line has had a tough time controlling that defensive front. Really the front 7 overall from NDSU. Mindell on once again for a punt.
He has done a good job of not allowing returns. Smith has had the fair catch the last, well, 2 punts for sure, and maybe the last 3. You see the young kid back. Shepard's back this time.
And there's a flag, and I think it's going to be a false start. Somebody moved early there for UND, and that will drive them back 5 more yards.
False start. Kicking team, number 38. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
William James, senior defensive back from Sweden. Moved a little bit early.
Oh, it's a long way from Sweden. He had to move early. Sorry.
Couldn't help yourself.
No.
So now 4th and 14.
I'll bet he has an interesting how'd you get here story.
They all seem to if you're coming from Europe. And we'll put the toe to it. And this one not as good. A little bit lower as Shepard takes it at the 33. He's got a little bit of room to run. And he's still on his feet. A couple of nice moves on the open field. And Darius Shepard showing off some moves up to the 46-yard line. And that's where the Bison will have it. 7:09 to go in the third quarter. We'll take another timeout. You're watching NBC North Dakota Sports. North Dakota State at their own 46 for this drive. Working on a 27-3 lead. Inside handoff goes to King Frazier, and Frazier maneuvers around one tackler, and then he's upended by Reyes after a gain of close to 4.
But Reyes did a nice job to get his pad level low enough to beat Frazier, because Frazier was also getting those pads down.
Let's take a look at our North Dakota Soybean Council trivia question. Large semi-trucks hold how many bushels of soybeans? Well, I'll give you a minute to think about that one and have your answer coming up. Wentz slings it out wide open. Receiver is Nate Moody, a native North Dakotan from Dickinson. Second catch of the season, up to the 38, good enough for a Bison first down.
Boy, UND really playing soft on the outside, especially to the field, the wide side. Kodak Mutual Insurance replay. About as easy as it gets. Moody's just able to run down about 10, 12 yards, stop, and there's the ball.
Yeah, really playing off was Chris Brown, the senior corner. Started all 12 games last year for North Dakota and making his 3rd straight start this season. Play action. Wentz looking deep for Urzendowski. Touchdown, Bison.
The one thing that Wentz has worked hard on the last couple of years and in the offseason is getting more air underneath the ball on the deep throws. He does. A little bit better arc on this one, allows Urzendowski to run under it and make the diving catch into the end zone. But, you know, if there's such a thing as having too strong an arm, sometimes Wentz got himself in trouble with that last year. Threw it too flat. Coach Hedberg says, we've worked. Get the ball in the air. He did right there, and it worked.
Peterson adds the extra point for a 34-3 lead. And Deion Harris, the young corner from North Dakota, got himself turned around a little bit and lost sight of where Urzendowski and the football was.
Well, when you talk to Coach Polisek, he said we thought that Harris is a guy maybe in an ISO situation we could pick on a little bit for the reason that he hasn't had a lot of snaps there. And he's very, very talented guy. Oh, I was going to say 850.
Here's the answer to your North Dakota Soybean Council trivia question. Large semi-trucks hold how many bushels of soybeans? 900 of them. But I tell you what, can you put a couple in the cab to make it 902? I mean, is that a relative question?
I suppose you could.
Well, so far, North Dakota State really controlling things on both sides of the ball. 333 total yards. North Dakota, on the other hand, just 4 rush yards and 5 pass yards for 9 total yards so far here today.
It really has been an interesting first 3 games, though, for UND. Felt so good after coming back from Wyoming. Ran the ball real well against Drake. Didn't run the ball well at all. Forced to pass. Got enough going on through the air. Was productive with it early. Second half was really poor offensively. And nothing today has worked.
Time now for another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Peterson Farm Seeds proudly brings you the Bison kickoff as well as a product lineup that'll give you every reason to stand tall. The Cops drive this one towards the corner, taken at the goal line. To the 5, to the 15. Good coverage by the Bison as Reed able to get up to close to the 20-yard line, maybe a yard short. Special teams coverage on the kickoffs was certainly a point of emphasis after a 100-yard return was kicked and returned last week by Weber State. Bobcat game recap. 3 plays, 54 yards in just a minute 16 as Wentz found Urzendowski for a 38-yard touchdown.
Well, the Bison have shown in the first half that they were able to grind things out. And now in the second half, you're working on a few things, trying to get the ball downfield. Like I said, get Wentz to arc that ball a little bit more, give Urzendowski a chance to catch it, and he did.
Studsrud, the Big Sky Player of the Week, after a 260-yard performance against Drake, which included 3 touchdown passes, but so far today, a real struggle. Rip drop, fires. This one is caught. Short gain, but it is positive yardage as Seibel makes the catch at the 21.
Just a shallow slant to Seibel, but the thing there I liked about that is Studsrud looked to be in time. He got the ball out in rhythm. So his feet were set, his shoulders were where they were supposed to be. The ball he had up there wasn't a big rush against him. Yeah, I know, he only gained a yard, but at least it felt right. And a lot of things that UND's tried to do today have not been that.
North Dakota's just kind of try to get a first down here. Studsrud sets up, launches across the middle, dangerous pass, a little bit to the outside of Seibel, and Trey Dempsey in on the coverage.
Well, Seibel had to try to make a move when the ball was in the air, which was to his back. He had to try to stop his momentum and come back to the ball being thrown on the inside of him a little bit. Tough thing to ask your receiver to do. Despite the score, crowd's still into this thing. I mean, they're still trying to make it as tough as they can on Studsrud and company.
3rd and long again. Play clock down to 5. Here comes the blitz from Smith. Studsrud gets rid of it, and it is almost intercepted. And oh, it probably should have been. Right into the hands of Trey Dempsey.
Yeah, it was Champion again, coming on that same blitz that worked a couple of times in the first half. He comes free, tries to jump over the running back, Norberg, to get to the quarterback. Yeah, that's one that Dempsey's going to want back.
North Dakota State has 18 first downs today. North Dakota has 0. And we're almost done with the 3rd quarter. Darius Shepard back as the return man again for North Dakota State. Mindell, excuse me, back for UND to put this one up in the air. And that's a good one. Shepard fumbled the football, and I think UND got it. Chris Brown came up with it after it was muffed by Darius Shepard at the 35.
Chris Brown, you mentioned last year, earned a starting spot as a corner on the defense, making the special teams play here because Shepard gave him the opportunity.
And UND really needed something to go their way to at least try to get some momentum, and at least this gets the offense on a short field here with the opportunity to get some points.
I mean, both times the ball has been across midfield. Was it only been twice, but it was the punt return, and this one was off the muff punt. You create the turnover. That is at Alpin in the backfield, playing fullback. He's a backup center.
Play action. Studrud's going to go up top. Open receiver is Seibel, and he's got it inside the 10, down to the 7, and here comes a flag. Maybe a face mask, LT, something like that?
I think in the trying to dig the ball out of there, you might have got up top around the head.
Personal foul, face mask. Defense, number 28. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
That is Andrew Smith, the guilty party. So that will move the ball inside the 5, down to the 4-yard line.
Real nice throw, though, on that deep post.
Yep, there he is, have a grab of the face mask. UND in the Superior Inc. red zone for the first time today, and that is the first down for North Dakota today.
That's crazy with 4.5 minutes to go.
Norberg is the setback. Seibel to the bottom of the screen is the only receiver. Here comes Seibel now in motion. Studrud wants to run with it. Not much room, able to maybe get a yard up to the 3.
Ambrosius, I think, was the first one there. He's number 97, keeping the quarterback out of the end zone.
2nd and goal coming up. Matt Plank, an extra linebacker, coming in for C.J. Smith.
Here's that triple stack eye. This was a popular play for UND, and it worked well at Wyoming.
Dustin Iverson in the game, an Elgin, North Dakota native. Sat out the first 2 games with a suspension. He's in there. They're going to give it to Oliveira, who got about a yard, and a helmet went flying off one of the UND offensive linemen. They're going to come up about a yard short of the end zone. Will bring up 3rd and goal.
I think it was Tangway and LaDuca that kept him out of the end zone. Pretty good push up front by UND on this one. Yeah. First guy there, middle linebacker.
Boy, this crowd, as you mentioned, they're still into it. They're trying to make this really tough. Studrud's going to try to sneak in, and he is in, I believe. I thought for a touchdown, and there it is. So UND able to take advantage of the fumbled punt, and Keaton Studrud in from a yard out, and North Dakota finally in the end zone today cuts the lead down to 25 with the extra point pending.
Well, you talk about a sudden change play, the fumble on the punt return. That certainly was a sudden change play because NDSU had everything going for it in this game. Still do. Obviously, look at the scoreboard. It's still a massive lead, but all of a sudden UND gets its first down. Ball inside the 10. 3rd down. The quarterback sneak goes in. So now the team in white has something to hang its hat on and feel good about.
And UND will go for 2 here. 3 receivers. Santiago is the tailback.
Single coverage on the outside, so if you're going to pass, you can almost say pick a side. Which receiver do you like the best in a one-on-one?
Drops it off for Santiago. He makes the catch, but oh, look at the closing speed of Trey Dempsey. Chris Board came in to make the tackle. Wow.
Board was the extra guy who came in. Remember you said they're bringing in an extra guy for this particular play, and it was Board who came up, was filling in kind of that soft little spot in the zone off to the right of where Studrud is, and that is a sure tackle.
So it remains 34-9 as North Dakota able to get in the end zone for the first time today.
I like that UND went for it, the 2-pointer, for a number of reasons. One, the situation in this game, but also remember that this is a non-conference game, and you're going to try to get ready to do things down the road in the conference. Let's see a play we think will work in a 2-point situation, get it on tape, break it down, why it didn't work in this case, and maybe that's something you don't go back to.
And North Dakota will have their conference opener next Saturday night next Saturday afternoon, I should say, when UC Davis comes to town, 1:05 at the Alaris Center. Of course, NDSU has the bye week as they get ready for their matchup with South Dakota State, conference rival in the Missouri Valley. Bison have won the last 6 contests between the two.
You ask the fans and the alumni about a rivalry game, and this game they talk about. You ask the players about a rivalry game, and the players that are currently playing, they're going to tell you the Jackrabbits and probably the Panthers are the rivalry games from NDSU when you talk about things in the conference. Wouldn't you agree? I
would agree. I think South Dakota State certainly, and Northern Iowa, to me, every year are the most violent football games of the season. I mean, those are 2 teams that just absolutely play hard, and the pads are really popping, that's for sure. Well, 2 guys wanted to take it. Lance Dunn's going to take it. And he was taken down at the 11-yard line. Nice job on the coverage for special teams. Dister hopped in there along with number 37, Javen Butler, another backup linebacker. 3 plays, 35 yards as Studrud puts it in on the Bobcat game recap.
Well, let's just say the special teams coordinator for NDSU has some stuff to work on now once they get into meetings this coming week.
And this is the first time we've really seen Darius Shepard back to take punts. Normally that's been Eric Perkins, but he's been bothered by a little bit of a turf toe.
Or Smith.
Or CJ.
Which is why Smith took most of them in the first half. It's because Perkins wasn't quite ready. They wanted to take some reps off of him because of that turf toe. It was a quick strike last time from NDSU. I have a feeling they might want to try to grind it here.
Looks like that's what they might do unless Lance Dunn can break loose, and he does get free for 9 yards. Again, Reyes in on another tackle for North Dakota.
Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. There's plenty of space on the near side for Dunn to be able to survey it. Plays designed to maybe go to that left, but not fit very well on the weak side by UND.
2nd and 1 coming up from the 20. Power. Ooh, nice job that time defensively by North Dakota. They were ready for it. And that was Dranka, Braden Dranka. All Big Sky honorable mention a year ago. Had a sack last week versus Drake, just a sophomore, 235.
Drew Greeley, number 43, also in there. Greeley's a young guy that playing the defensive end that also Eric Schmidt likes a lot. In fact, Tim Polasek likes Greeley. He said when he was on staff at Northern Illinois, they recruited the kid pretty hard.
So Bison now will spread things out here on 3rd and 2. Wentz to the air. Going to try to find Darius Shepard, and he does. And Shepard makes the catch on the sidelines, good enough for a first down.
Harris gives him a nice whack right there on as he was going out. That was just Wentz being patient. At first I thought maybe that Carson was going to want to run with it, but he just waited that extra count right there to allow his running back to create a little bit of a space and get in there to, I shouldn't say running back, I guess in this place, slot guy, to make the catch and move it.
Darius Shepard, his 6th catch today. Now back to the ground game. Nice moves inside by Lance Dunn. Picks up 4 more, up to the 27. And as you mentioned, LT, North Dakota State content to try to grind out a drive here and move methodically down the field.
Well, I was just thinking there what you said about Shepard is kind of, other than the punt, which was a big one, it's been a little bit of a coming out party for him today. He's had a good game.
I think Tim Polasek's been searching for that 3rd guy to go along with Thrawn or Urzendowski. And it appears that Shepard right now is that guy.
Kind of waiting between him and Williams to see who would emerge, and Shepard obviously has gotten a lot more reps today.
There's a quarterback run for Wentz. Connor O'Brien makes another stop after a gain of 2. Maybe the final play of the quarter. I think NDSU will be content to run things out here in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, no reason to snap it here. About a 2-second differential on the play in the game.
And that will do it for the 3rd quarter from Fargo. The 111th meeting between North Dakota State and North Dakota, but the first in 12 years. It's 34-9, and coming up the 4th quarter, brought to you by PetroServe USA, home of the 4-for-4 pizza special. Stop into one of 24 PetroServe USA locations to pick up yours today. The final 15 from Fargo is coming up next. Time now for the New Seed Fan Cam. Got a glimpse of Ty Brooks, the former Fargo South standout who's redshirting in the Bison program this season. 3rd and 3. This one a high across the middle. Dangerous pass. The receiver was laid out. Zach Rock getting up a little bit slowly. As that one got away from Carson Wentz just a little bit there, LT.
You know how Jimmy Fallon does his thank you? You know, thank you. And there's where Wentz has to do a, I'm sorry. Because he almost got Brock killed. If he would have stayed committed to the ball a little bit longer, he really would have been stretched out and got destroyed. So that'd have been the opposite of the thank you note there.
Cole Reyes. lay in the wood.
Wentz will say, sorry.
So Ben LeCompte on for the punt. Ben will send this one down to the 27. Taken by Seibel, and he is dropped. Nice job on special teams again by the North Dakota State coverage team.
LaDuca.
And Nick LaDuca does it all for this squad. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay.
Seibel with the catch, and really he just didn't have too many options, so you take what you can get and try not to get drilled doing it too hard. But your two of your starting linebackers out there on special teams, because Stumpf was right there as well. That's how much special teams means in this game. I mean, you can't, go, oh, let's throw a bunch of second and third teamers out there and let them play a little bit. No, we've seen where special teams makes a difference in this game. How does UND have all of its points? From special teams.
And Seibel's really been the bright spot for UND, and ironically, both of his parents are NDSU grads.
Yeah.
Keaton Studrud will roll out, and Adler makes his first catch. That is Zach Adler, the senior tight end from Omaha, captain. 6th catch of the season. Picks up positive yardage up to the 36.
You mentioned Seibel. Let's talk about him a little bit. I had the pleasure to watch him all the way through his high school years out at Bismarck High. He's number 23 right there. He's such a competitor, and you could just trust him as a coach to do anything you wanted him to, whether he was playing football, playing basketball, or playing baseball. If it was a big moment, he was able to do it for the Demons.
Again, a quick drop. Holding on to the football. Now looking for Seibel on kind of a wheel route looking play there as he went around, didn't he?
Actually, it was a double move. Seibel came back out, and Champion was playing soft, meaning playing off. So it probably wasn't the best play call given what the defense was at the snap. Nodak Mutual Insurance trying to make a move downfield, but because Champion was playing 8 yards off at the snap, he was able to make an adjustment not only to the route, but also to the ball in the air. Smith on the high side was playing pressure, but that time Champ had enough space to be able to move with the play.
3rd and 4. Studrud going to run with it. And he's going to get a first down. Andrew Smith makes the tackle at the 42. Studrud needed 4. He got 6.
Seeing Stanley Jones come in to get their reps. You're also seeing Morgan come in, get a couple of defensive tackle reps in there for NDSU. Design play, quarterback draw. First down.
Pitch outside. Oliveira on the carry. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Still inches ahead for 3 to the 45. Pierre G. Tucker getting some penetration that time from his linebacker spot.
That was just kind of a sweep outside play to Oliveira. But of the running back group, even though Santiago came in as a wide receiver, Oliveira's kind of the guy that I've been told they think is the best pass catching running back in the group. He's number 5.
Read option look here. Studrud's going to keep it. And he is turned backwards. Another nice job defensively by the Bison.
That's Stumpf.
MJ Stumpf got in there.
Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. You're looking for number 41 to come in. Oliveira, after the fake, really didn't get upfield very much, and a little extra at the end there from Stumpf.
MJ's father, of course, played at NDSCS, also at NDSU. I'm sure this game means a little something in his family today. A Harvey, North Dakota native.
And his leadership, we heard it all through the spring. Stumpf, his leadership, it's starting to emerge. He's becoming a leader for us.
Studrud just going to throw this one away. It was looking for Santiago, and that was covered up.
Yeah, he was waiting, I think, for the wheel to open, and it never did. That has been one little thing that I was told is a knock sometimes on Studrud, is that he locks in a little bit early. He locked in early on the guy he wanted to get that ball to, but then he did the right thing, understanding that it wasn't there, and sometimes you're better off just to live to play another play. And he just chucked it out, even though it was 3rd. Smith is back there after the last punt.
Mindell. This one not as good. Bounces at the 20 and then takes a side hop for UND out at the 12-yard line. 34-9 the score, 11:55 to go on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Back with the
Timeout
finish
on the field
from the rivalry after this. North Dakota leads it by 25 points. Beth Poole on the sidelines has a PetroServe USA sideline report. Beth.
Hey guys, that's right, Lee. Well, Rob might not be writing a thank you note to Wins for that last one. They did reconnect on the sideline here right after that play, meeting up, talking, and certainly no love lost either.
Thank you, Beth. King Frazier right up the middle for 7 yards up to the 20.
Well, that was a play that was one of the big reasons last week against Weber State that there was 316, I believe, yards rushing on the ground. That power play up the middle.
And Frazier, the right kind of back for that kind of run, right, LT? I mean, really got 220 pounds, really kind of a guy that can run it up in there.
Here he goes again.
I think that's done.
Oh, you're right. But the one thing as a position group, I think that Coach Polasek is still looking for is the explosive play out of that. We saw John Crockett, do that, or go back to Tyler Roll, big runs. Obviously, Frazier's had some big runs this year, but I don't know if they're what you would call those explosive type of runs and of plays. And I think that's, some of the reason that they're thinking Dunn can be one of those guys. But as a group, Coach Polasek says we're still hoping to develop that person.
Dunn again, stretch play to the outside. He has more room. Again, it's Reyes in on another tackle, but 7 more yards for Lance Dunn.
Someone from UND is still down as we look at.
Looks like Zach
timeout on the
Arnell.
field for a North Dakota injury.
Block, yeah, or he was behind the play, got rolled on. Yep, it was number 20, Arnell. I didn't pick up the number of the Bison player who rolled on his, looks like his right leg in this instant. But yeah, he was trying to get stopped, and too much momentum from NDSU rolled him up.
Timeout on the field
and
for
this
media.
looks significant.
Does not look good. We'll take a quick break. This game is brought to you in high definition by Speak Volumes, who just reminds you that one drink is not just one drink. Taking a look at the young safety, Zach Arnell, a junior college transfer from Santa Barbara, and it appears to us after looking at the replay that he may have broken his leg.
That was what I thought during the original play when he didn't get up, and then you saw his reaction, stayed face down, and then unfortunately I thought I saw the foot not pointing in the direction it's supposed to be pointing. So, if you want us to speculate and guess, which I guess we will do, that's happened. I think he broke his leg.
It looks like it may be a relative, possibly a mother there, of Zach, who's in his first year in the UND program. And a guy they really liked. Second leading tackler on the team. And losing your back end safeties is really tough because it doesn't get any easier in the Big Sky with some of the fun and gun offenses they're going to see.
No, I mean, and Zach did an outstanding job. This spring, he was kind of limited with his number of snaps. He was battling some things and didn't get on the field much. But this fall is when he really started to shine, and that's where, in camp, he earned that position and earned the right to be out there.
And again, he was hurt a lot last year, and that's why a lot of schools backed off on him. UND considered themselves pretty lucky to get in on the opportunity to recruit him.
Yeah, I believe that first bag you see that young lady holding has the air cast and everything, and as soon as that came out, immediately that's when you knew, unfortunately, that he wasn't going to be able to continue.
We'll take another timeout as they get ready to remove Arnell from the field and likely take a look at some x-rays. It's 34-9 on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard.
Media has taken their third and final timeout of the fourth quarter.
Zach Arnell has been removed from the field. by Cart, and certainly doesn't look good for that young man to play again this year, LT.
No, unfortunately, that I would have to say his season is over and hope he's all right.
Stretch play again, looking for a crease is Frazier. And King able to get a couple up to the 33.
When I say all right, I hope his future's all right and he has everything ahead of him and they're able to get everything done, taken care of. And
bring up 3rd and 1 here for North Dakota State, as I'm sure they'll be content to try to move the ball on the ground and kill the clock and get out of here with a victory.
UND obviously thinking a quarterback sneak is coming, and it is.
Well, they did a pretty good job stacking things up, but I still think Wentz got enough.
Might be our first measure of the day.
And they are going to motion first down. So Frazier will check back in. Morlock will head to the sidelines.
Brock comes back in as well. Exchanging with Moody.
I know Jack Plankers, offensive lineman from Kindred, was hoping he was going to be back for this game, but just not quite ready. Wentz will go to throw, and he is going to be swallowed up. And again, it's Drinka coming in. Big loss. And the 3rd UND sack of the day.
Well, I think Wentz was trying to get Bonnet deep over the middle. And Bonnet was covered pretty good. Reyes is the deep center fielder on that one, and he was not fooled. Wentz has to step up. His rhythm is off, and here comes a big guy at you. Now, that's one thing that Carson has maybe had an issue with in terms of coaching staff. It's kind of how he got hurt out in Montana, trying to make something that didn't exist. He had a 280-pound guy on him. Sometimes you just have to take what's there, and if nothing's there, go down. Don't get hurt.
Back to the ground game, minimal gain of 3. As Frazier takes it up to the 31. We'll bring up 3rd and long.
I know Coach Hedberg has said, hey.
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah. But, Coach, going back to the Wentz thing and kind of how he got injured out in Montana, Coach Hedberg says, yes, we talk about it. Yes, he listens. He tells me yes. And then sometimes the game takes over, and he thinks he can make something big happen on every play. And that, like I said, that's kind of how he hurt his ankle. Nothing there, timeout.
It's the second time that Wentz has had to burn a timeout as the play clock
North
ran
Dakota
down.
State is taking their second time out of the half. This will be a 30-second
8
team
minutes to go
timeout.
here in the football game. Looking like North Dakota State is going to move to 2-1. UND again will drop to 2-1. But for North Dakota, some winnable games at home here coming up this season, and I think their hope is that they at least give themselves a chance to finish in the top 4 in the Big Sky and maybe get a sniff at a playoff spot. But a long way to go.
Oh, that would be a tremendous output if the team can get that far. Like you say, even to be that deep into the year, and if UND could still be in the conversation, that's a huge step in the right direction for North Dakota.
And what we've seen in the past when it comes to the selection process, an FBS win makes a difference. Now, granted, we don't know how good of an FBS win it really is with Wyoming. They've certainly been off to a struggling start in Laramie, but it is an FBS win. 3rd and long. UND bringing pressure. Wentz trying to get away, trying to stiff arm, and then drag down from behind. Good pursuit on the play by UND. And William James making the tackle from behind will bring up 4th down.
Pressure to the outside. Wentz tries to step up. They have people coming out. There's Rattel trying to help him move, to make Wentz move to the outside. The UND took a couple of gaps and sent a bunch of people in there, and it worked and worked well.
Boy, the Compton, another booming punt, sending Seidel back to the 11. Sidesteps one man and then taken down at about the 17. MJ Stump in on another tackle. Chris Kleiman's team hoping to get out of here healthy and then get ready for their matchup down in Brookings. Never an easy place to play.
Well, you talk about teams with FBS wins. How about the one the Jackrabbits have?
A big one at Kansas. A shootout. But a victory, the first ever in that program's proud history, getting an FBS victory. He really laid the wood with Southern Utah at home as well last week. Jack's playing well.
Passing formation, 4 receivers.
Studsrud has time, fires. This one is caught. That is the first catch of the day for Brandon Walker, a sophomore from Flint, Michigan. Talked to Danny Freund, one of the wide receivers coach at UND. You know, we really like what he brings, and he started a bunch of games last year. We just need him to get more consistent in practice. Practice hard every time he's out there.
He has not been on the field very many times today. So often there's a correlation between what happens Monday through Friday and then how many snaps you get on Saturday. But he did make the nice catch to get the first down right there.
Just dealing with a little bit of a issue with a groin, so that has slowed down Walker a little bit. Studsrud will get behind center this time. Hangs on to it, and then he's taken down for another NDSU sack. Greg Menard in there along with Brian Schatz. Schatz was the first one there, I think.
Well, they talk about coverage sacks. When you get the quarterback pumping that hard, he wants to get rid of that thing, and he could not do it on time. Nobody was open. He has to pull the ball back, and by that time, the Bison are on top of him. No place to go.
Proud to have you join us for this North Dakota State, North Dakota matchup. 111th time these two teams have met on KVOY on NBC North Dakota Sports Network in high definition. Studsrud fires high. C.J. Smith on in the coverage. Intended target was again Walker. So that'll bring up 3rd and long.
You know, C.J. Smith, for opposing teams trying to attack the Bison defense, is getting himself into a position kind of like Marcus Williams was a few years ago, in that he almost takes that side of the field out. Takes it out of play because he's so good in one-on-one coverage. And the fact that he came back and he missed the Montana game is one of the reasons I think that Champion and everyone else says we're playing so much better. He's back.
Studsrud looked like a little bit of a cross up there as Santiago got the carry. Not much. 2 yards up to the 31.
Schatz again in pretty good position. Stump finishes him off. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. Yep. Not as clean as you would like.
So Mindell has been a busy guy today, and now he's back again for another UND punt.
Front 7 of the Bison defense have really done a good job again here today. We've talked a lot about Tangway and what Tangway has done, but yeah, you throw the whole package together, and LaDuca and Stump have been in on a bunch of tackles, and a lot of reason for that is they've been clean. They haven't been hit at the second level much at all.
Booming high punt by Mindell. And Perkins dropped the football, and it's still loose. It's still loose. And we don't know who's at the bottom of the pile, but if North Dakota's got it, boy, they are in good position at the half-yard line. That's the second muff punt, and NDSU maintains possession. And look who gets on top of it. The
Anderson.
Same guy that got on the other one, Bruce Anderson. Yeah, the special teams coaches for North Dakota State will have some words and some coaching to do this week.
Boy, the fact that you're not catching them clean, and of course, credit the punt. That thing was gorgeous. So your timing as a receiver and your footwork and everything is all off. Perkins tried to catch it high, didn't get a clean grasp on it, and then Bison are lucky that that thing didn't turn into possession. At one point, it almost looked like UND was going to get points out of that play.
And punting was an issue for North Dakota last year, mainly because Mindell was hurt, had redshirt. He started all games in 2013. Power play up the gut just to try to get some room up to the 3.
Looking for breathing room.
Yep.
I think Noah Johnson was one of the guys in there that kind of was in on that tackle.
Coaches really like what Johnson can bring. They think he can be disruptive at times. He's another junior college transfer. Actually started his career at Sacramento State. The defensive line coach at North Dakota had an in, used to coach there, brought him in from a JUCO, and now he's getting some reps. Morlock. Not much, maybe a half yard.
I think Adowu was the first one that got back there. Didn't he come off the end real strong? I honestly thought we would be saying his name a little bit more. He hasn't quite had the impact in this game as he has so far this year.
Big week for Adowu. All-State Good Works team. He's named one of 22 players for some of his work in the community. Helped organize some players to get a family to help move, get them situated after their home burned down. In Grand Forks has also done some other work, and he'll be honored at the Sugar Bowl later this year.
Obviously his teammates like him, one of the captains.
Ground game again, and Will Littell comes in to make the stop. Adowu in on that tackle as well, and that will be a 3 and out for North Dakota State, and they'll punt it away once again.
James Fisher will snap. Number 19, Ben McCobb will punt. Number 23, Josh Seinfeld, UND.
Popped. Put the toe to it. Seidel. He fumbled the football. I think he got back on top of it at the 48.
What is happening in the punt game?
And there's also a flag, so we'll see what that's about at the 15. North Dakota has been able to generate some yardage, now 70 total yards, and it's certainly not a great performance. I think Bubba Schweger wants to see more, but at least something positive has happened here in the second half.
During the return, holding return team number 37. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, you're right, but it had to go up. You only had, what, 5 at one point. What, 37 yards in the third quarter, I think, and it is all. So, yeah, it's better, but it couldn't have got worse.
Well, and after giving up 434 passing yards at Montana, I know Matt Entz and some of the defensive players pretty disappointed with that effort, and they've really bounced back the last couple of weeks against Weber State and North Dakota, really holding those offenses in check.
Yeah, but if you want to go back to the Montana game and talk a little bit about that, I think a lot of the onus of the number of plays and the number of yards in the second half that came against NDSU, you got to hang quite a bit of that on the offense. The offense was not very productive when it needed to be to help the defense out, and they let their defense hang on that field for a long, long time.
So UND will take over at the 38 now after the holding penalty. Starts Reed to throw. Flushed again, going to try to run. And taken down for another sack.
There's Morgan.
I feel good for a kid like Grant Morgan, trying to get more playing time. Coach is hoping he can elevate his play once they get into league play. They really want to see more out of him.
I mean, to be blunt, Coach Entz says we've expected more out of him, and so far he hasn't really delivered it. They want more, and they haven't seen it yet.
Studsrud had a small window to try to fit it into Walker there. Overthrown, incomplete, will bring up 3rd and long.
Well, just give me, if we didn't get a chance, that's usually what pre-games and stuff are for, but we haven't had a chance much just to talk about the rivalry or that the games going on, or what are some of your memories when, you were at school when these teams were playing?
Well, there was
what's
so
one
much,
or two?
There was so much on the line every year. I think that's what I remember, and the players remember too. I mean, I even look back at the last game in 2003, the players that played in that. Guys like Kyle Steffes, Craig Dahl from North Dakota. And we had players like Digger Anderson from North Dakota. And it was fun to be a part of that because it was more of like a week-long event. The Studsrud goes down once again. Another sack, and this time it's the first career sack for Stanley Jones, the Bismarck native.
Congratulations to Stanley. But yeah, I remember Chad Stark talking about it too, and how, you know, he would describe the then Bison Sioux week as it started with a simmer, you know, and then all of a sudden by the time Saturday came, it was a full boil for everyone involved. And of course, there's such memorable plays in this series over the years. How can you not think of Jim Kleinsaucer's play? Probably the most definitive play, maybe in UND, you know, modern history.
And even thinking of the last game they played, you know, we didn't know it was going to be the last game for 12 years. It came down to a 4th and 1 in overtime, and UND stopped NDSU. It was a great football game, and a lot has changed. Both teams certainly now have moved on to different things, and NDSU's had a tremendous amount of success at the Division I level. North Dakota not so much, but you know, you hope that eventually maybe they'll play more than once every 12 years.
Yeah. Well, I talked with Coach Thomas last week. Roger, who was obviously the coach at UND for a long time during that run, and he brought up a good point. Until this becomes a series again, it can't be what it was because it isn't. But the fact that they have played is way better than what's happened the last 12 years.
It's almost a novelty now instead of a rivalry. Yeah. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I would agree. I said that. That's what I called it on the air once this year, or this week. But yeah, you're great. It is great that at least they've gotten to this point. And I'll credit Bubba. I think he was the driving force behind it, and didn't care about the negotiations and all the stuff that goes into trying to make things happen. He's from Zeeland. He knows what it means to the fans in the state. And let's play the game. And also, as Easton Stick is in, got a little story to talk about here after this play too, maybe.
Easton Stick getting his feet wet last week. Now in on this final series.
What do you think Weston Dressler's going to look like in NDSU gear next week? Every day. That was the bet he had with his teammate now with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Ryan Smith.
Really?
Yep, because Dressler obviously played at UND, one of the all-time greats there. Ryan Smith, we saw what he did here. Their teammates up in Regina right now for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they made a bet. Whoever's team lost, the other guy has to wear gear every day next week. So Weston Dressler will be wearing something that says NDSU next week every day.
Well, we hope Ryan gets a picture and sends that out on social media.
I believe Ryan said social media will be part of the package.
That will be the final play. As the game that so many wanted has come back to life, the two coaches, a lot of mutual respect, will shake hands at midfield. Chris Kleiman and Bubba Schweigert, the 111th meeting between North Dakota and North Dakota State is in the books. The Bison getting the victory 34-9.
Well, simply little doubt. There was little doubt in this contest. NDSU took care of that in the first half.
Beth Houle is about to catch up with head coach Chris Kleiman as he walks towards Beth. And now Chris Kleiman is with Beth Houle on the sidelines to elaborate on today's game. Beth?
Hey guys, Coach Kleiman here with me. 34-9 win. Do you feel like you just won a football game?
Yeah, there's a little relief. Defense played really well today. They have 61 yards of total offense, and they blitzed us like we thought, and our passing game was pretty sharp today.
Carson Wentz came out, hit a bunch of different guys, dictated the pace there in the second quarter early on. What can you say about him as a leader on this group?
Well, he checked us into the right call. He made some great throws, but I'll give our guys that caught the ball a lot of credit. We made some guys miss, which we hadn't done in the past, and did some great things after the catch. So great job of spreading the ball around.
All right, congratulations on the win, Coach. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Beth. 34-9 is the final. North Dakota just 61 yards of total offense. The Bison 377, as both teams now will get ready for conference play in their respective leagues. UND in the Big Sky and NDSU, of course, in the Missouri Valley, where things are always tough with a couple of more rivals looming. We'll be back with our Nodak Mutual Insurance Player of the Game coming up after this. 34-9 is your final on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. 34-9 the final as North Dakota State takes the first meeting between these two teams as Division I opponents, and our Nodak Mutual Insurance player of the game is none other than Carson Wentz, who got it done today, 262 yards through the air and 4 touchdowns, LT.
Well, he puts the worry into anyone NDSU is going to play. He makes the right reads, as Coach talked about. He gets the lines in the right protections, but here through the air, 18 completions, 262 yards, and he had 4 touchdowns today. That one to Chase Morlock, and at that point of the game is really when NDSU just took over, started dominating, and established the fact that it was the better team today by a large margin.
So Carson Wentz, your Nodak Mutual Insurance player of the game. Now time for our hit of the game, brought to you by American Family Insurance Agents. And the hit of the game actually belongs to Cole Reyes. And this is the one that got pretty dangerous as Keaton Studsford was buried on that play by Aaron Steidel. That's our hit of the game.
We'll give her to Steidel there,
We'll
who came in with the sack. Yep.
And that's Steidel's first career sack for the redshirt freshman, and he's fired up about it. That was early in the game. And again, Studsrud was sacked 4 times today by that Bison defense, and really UND never got into sync offensively, LT.
Another thing I like, if you remember when the game was going on, when Steidel got to the sideline, how happy all his teammates were for him to get that first one. Same there at the end with Stanley Jones. You got that first sack. So not the teammates are as happy or more than Steidel is in this case, coming up with our hit of the game.
So NDSU will now have a week off as they get ready to hit the road to face another rival in South Dakota State. Another former NCC team that they used to play over the years. We'll take another break. We'll be back to wrap things up from here at the Fargo Dome. It's 34-9 the final. North Dakota State victorious over their former rivals from Grand Forks. Taking a look ahead at our 2015 NDSU football coverage. After the victory today, North Dakota State now moves to 2-1. They have the week off, as we mentioned, and then Northern Iowa comes in at homecoming before South Dakota also comes to Fargo, and then they hit the road to Indiana State. The schedule never easy in the Valley, LT, especially those first 2 games.
You can't start more difficult than that, I don't think. Brookings, of course, a tough place to play. South Dakota State, coming off its big win to open the season, and Northern Iowa, that's a battle. So you want to talk about, like we said during the telecast, the in-conference rival games for NDSU are right there. Jackrabbits and Panthers, and how they do in those 2 games sets up everything else for the rest of the year.
And for Northern Iowa, what a brutal start they have. I mean, after playing Eastern Washington at home, you play Iowa. Now you go to Cal Poly, who's playing very well on the road, a 9:30 Central Time start, a week off, and then Illinois State you got to hit the road to, and then you come here. Boy, oh boy, is Mark Farley's crew got the work cut out for him.
Who did Mark make mad?
Yeah,
Let me think. he does a pretty good job of making a lot of people mad, but that's another story for another time. And the total domination again.
And here's a look at our North Dakota certified seed producers stats. And then that really does tell the story and really the time of possession. North Dakota just unable to sustain anything on the ground. And I know they wanted to come in talking to assistant coach Danny Freund on running the football. They really wanted to establish that, and they just never could do that today.
The offensive coordinator, Paul Rudolph, talked with him this week. He said, first and foremost, we want to be a running team. Bubba Schweigert, what does Bubba say? First and foremost, we want to be a running team. They're a mile away from being a running team because last week in the win over Drake, what was successful? Not the run. Today, 4 yards could be 0 because it really doesn't matter. They did not do well in that regard. The Bison did, I think, frankly, Brian, what we thought they would. Show a physical dominance on both sides of the ball, and they did.
And the defensive line in particular, I think, LT, we knew Tangway was going to be an issue, but shots got in the act. Yeah. Greg Menard played well. They really got contributions from a number of different guys on that D-line, which I think is important for them because they want that group to come along a little bit more.
Yeah, try to find that depth and that rotation because that's been big. When the Bison were making those runs through the playoffs, it was not the starters all the time, but the guys right behind them that often came in the second series. That wears teams down. So you need that depth, and those kids played well, and they're earning their time too.
Just overall final thoughts on this game coming back and what it was like. It certainly wasn't the same as it's been before, but it was fun to have this game on the air statewide and throughout the entire country.
The fact that it was played is absolutely awesome because we both know that there was a time not long ago that this thing looked like an impossibility. What's the one thing that college football fans in this state want? They want NDSU to play UND. They waited 12 years to do it. We know it won't be 12 years again, but the fact that it was played, it leads us as a step in the right direction, and I truly hope, like so many people do, that it can become a series again.
Well, we're proud to bring it to you. The 111th meeting, the first as Division I programs after so many years of success at the Division II level for each team. To have that for you here statewide and throughout the entire country and really world for those watching online on ESPN3 and on GoBison.com. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll wrap it up from the Fargo Dome. North Dakota State takes the victory 34-9. For Lee Timmerman, Beth Houle, our entire NBC North Dakota sports crew, I'm Brian Shawn saying so long from the Fargo Dome. We'll see you in a couple of weeks when South Dakota State and the Bison square off in the Valley Opener. So long, everybody.